Sydney Sixers. It's the second from the top team against the second from the bottom team. It's going to be very, very exciting. My name is Atif Nawaz. Alongside me is Niall O'Brien, and we're going to get his thoughts in a moment about today's game. I'll just run you through what's happened so far, which is that the Sydney Sixers have won the bat flip and elected to field. Their team is looking very good, as is the Perth Scorchers. The Perth Scorchers, I'll run you through that team. Jason Roy, Liam Livingston, Colin Munro, Josh Inglis, Mitch Marsh, Ashton Turner, the captain, Aaron Hardy, Jai Richardson, Andrew Ty, Jason Berendorf, and Fawad Ahmed. And of course, the X Factor subs are going to be Cameron Bancroft and Joel Parrish. The Sydney Sixers, well, they've got a very much informed team. Josh Felipe will kick things off. He's the second top scorer in this edition of the Big Bash so far. Jack Edwards, James Vence, Daniel Hughes, the captain, Jordan Silk, Dan Christian, he's been very, very strong so far. Carlos Brathwaite, Ben Dwarshius, Stephen O'Keefe is back in action, Jackson Bird, Jake Ball, and the two X Factor subs are Lloyd Pope and Justin Avendano. So it'll be a very exciting match at the Perth Stadium, the beautiful Perth Stadium. Very excited to be joined by Niall O'Brien. Big game today, Niall.
Should be a cracker, yeah. Two sides obviously desperate for points for different reasons, really. Sydney Sixers have played some really outstanding cricket. They've had some good overseas players, and the local players have really played some excellent stuff. So they'll be travelling to Perth, and they'll be very confident of picking another couple of points. Perth Scorchers, on the other hand, well, they're desperate for a win. They really do need a win. Adam Voges, the head coach, will be desperate for a couple of points and back on home turf. They've been travelling around the country for a while, so they'll be back on home turf and looking to get a win. They've got a good side, a strong side, and a good overseas English imports in Jason Roy. They'll be looking for a couple of players to really step up and shine. So some big match players on both sides, actually, and Big Bash hasn't disappointed so far. It's been good cricket so far. I'm expecting more of the same today. Absolutely, Niall.
I mean, it's been a case of some unfulfilled potential, particularly for the Perth Scorchers. I mean, Jason Roy, we know exactly what he can do, particularly, the people who followed his English cricket and the Surrey cricket over the years. But it hasn't quite fired so far for the Perth Scorchers, and of course that puts pressure on his English teammate Liam Livingston. They tend to be at the top together. What are they missing at the moment that's kind of holding them back from those big partnerships? Is it possibly that power surge element? Is that playing on the minds of opening batsmen some way, do you think?
Well, if you look at Jason Roy, for example, and we're lucky to watch him all around the year here in England and overseas playing for England. Actually, his form leading into the Big Bash was very, very sketchy. It was pretty poor, actually. He had a very disappointing tour to South Africa. Even in the UK summer, I remember him playing against Ireland. He was dismissed 2 or 3 times for single figure scores. So he had a very disappointing, I would say going back probably 5-6 months. So his form probably needs to pick up, especially with Alex Hales playing so well for the Sydney Thunder, only across the country. And players in that England set, I'm just thinking of England. Johnny Bairstow's been dropped down the order in that game in Cape Town and played so well, but he wants to get back to the top of the order. Josh Butler for England looks like he's going to be there. So all of a sudden, Jason Roy, who was a pivotal player in that World Cup winning side, is under a bit of pressure, probably for the first time, I would say, in 3 to 4 years. So all the ability in the world, all the power, all the swagger, but he needs runs. Runs are your batsman's currency. So they're missing a little bit of firepower, and they're missing, I think, you go back to a couple of years ago, they always had, David Willey, new ball, you think bowling at the whacker, especially when the ball swung. David Willey was a really important player for the Scorchers. They just lost that little bit of identity to me, and to me they're playing with a team with not a great deal of confidence, and this Big Bash, you need a couple of wins here, or else they're going to be out of the running for the knockout stages.
Absolutely. I think we're looking forward to seeing some of the seam bowlers a little bit later. Jason Berendorf will of course feature, and Andrew Ty. It does seem like an attack that's kind of spread out a little bit, rather than focusing on those aggressive strike bowlers. There's an emphasis on workload a little bit. You got Mitch Marsh up the top to get you through some overs, Jai Richardson, Aaron Hardy, all these players, so almost sort of, I don't mean to call them bits and pieces players, but almost in that vein. But we shall see if it pays off for them today. All the players are out in the middle as they're about to kick things off. The Sydney Sixers, I mean, when they get into bat, it'll be very exciting to see Josh Philippe, who's been absolutely extraordinary, and just the converse effect of having a player in form at the top of your lineup, getting you off to those big starts.
Yeah, he's playing fantastically well. calls for him to get in the Australian side. Obviously, Tim Payne doing a good job in the Test match side, as Test match captain, but in the one day side and white ball team for Australia, that position is pretty much up for grabs. So Josh Felipe is a good player, playing nicely. Obviously had a bit of IPL experience, didn't have a great time with the batted gloves, but has that experience under his belt. So one to watch certainly, playing some wonderful cricket.
Well, we're going to kick off shortly. The players have all taken a knee in respect of the Black Lives Matters movement right now. It's good to see all the players just taking a knee, all the support staff as well on the edge of the balcony. Well, here we go. It's just coming up to 4:15 Perth time right now. It's an unusual time. We've had games starting in all sorts of time zones in this particular tournament, but part of the charm. It most certainly is, as is his first power play, which is about to start. Jackson Bird's got the ball. He's eager to get going. Jason Roy, who, as Niall O'Brien's pointed out, a bit sketchy for form. You can't ask for a better platform than this. One of the biggest tournaments in the world. Everybody, the eyes of the world on him. As we're about to kick things off, Jackson Bird runs in. He bowls back of a length and left alone by Jason Roy. Decided a little bit late to leave that through to the keeper for no run. Yeah,
it's Jackson Bird generally bowls Test match length. He's not express. He bowls around that 80 odd mile an hour, and he just generally hits the back of a length, and he does swing the ball if he goes a little bit fuller. But Jason Roy just really flirting outside the off stump, and I go back to a couple of games back in the Aegeus Bowl against Ireland. Craig Young dismissed him with similar kind of fortune outside the off stump, just poking at the ball, neither defending or attacking with any kind of vigour. So Jason Roy generally, when he's playing well, he's ultra positive.
Yeah, it's a little bit circumspect so far as in comes Jackson Bird, and the ball just teasing that outside edge as Jason Roy couldn't quite get anywhere near it as the ball moved away from him. It goes through to the keeper for no run in the end. A wry smile from Jason Roy there as the 2 dot balls have passed. And again, as you say, Niall O'Brien, just bang on the money with that length, just leaving the batsman, making sure he stays as circumspect as possible.
Well, he's an English type seamer, Jackson Bird, and he should be someone that Jason Roy will fancy. The new thing now is matchups, and I think Jason Roy will probably fancy this. Not express pace, and he's not going to bounce him out, so Jason Roy should fancy his chances.
In comes Jackson Bird this time, full of a length that's been smashed down the ground hard by Jason Roy. Races away to the boundary for 4 runs. What a shot that was. Well, that's one way to impose yourself on the game. Valuable runs for Jason Roy and the Perth Scorchers off the mark. 4 for no loss after 3 deliveries.
Well, it's good batting. I think Jackson Bird will think probably should have read the batsman there. He bowled 2 back of a length, beating the outside edge of Jason Roy, and I think standing at the back of my mark, if I was Jackson Bird, I could have envisaged that Jason Roy was going to come on the attack, get down the ground, and he does exactly that. It's a really good connection.
In comes Jackson Bird, losing his line that time, going down the leg side. That'll be wided by the umpire. So immediately playing on the mind of the bowler there is Jason Roy. One good shot, and all of a sudden Jackson Bird, who was on that impeccable length for those first 2 balls, as you said, Niall O'Brien, perfect Test match length, he's been thrown off it immediately. 5 for no loss after 3.
That's often the way as a batsman. You get one away, and then all of a sudden the pressure's back on the bowler. So Jason Roy's found a little bit of touch early.
In comes Jackson Bird once again, this time just sliding onto that leg side line. It's been flicked away into the deep for a single. So Jason Roy making a tidy start after those first 2 plays and misses. He's on 5 for 5 runs from 4 deliveries, 6 for no loss, the Perth Scorchers after 4 balls, and we're going to get to see Liam Livingston for the first time today. Jackson Bird just struggling to find some consistency with his line early doors.
Yeah, Liam Livingston, obviously second season in the Big Bash for the big man from Lancashire. Fine player, he
seems to be teasing that outside edge more often than not. 6 for no loss after 5 balls in this first over of this Perth Scorchers innings.
Well, he's got the ball on the string here, Jackson Bird. Generally he's bowled 1 ball down leg side for a wide, but generally he's pitched a good line and length, got a nice bit of shape away from the right-handers. Liam Livingston probably better off trying to hit through the offside as opposed to going against the swing.
In comes Jackson Bird now once again, this time just played into the onside. They'll run through for a quick single. So Livingston off the mark, off his second delivery. It's the end of a first eventful over from Jackson Bird. 7 for no loss after 1. And all things considered, he might think of himself a little bit unlucky not to have taken the first wicket, but even so, the Perth Scorchers will be grateful just to still be alive. 7 for no loss after 1.
Well, decent start. Both sides will be fairly happy. Jackson Bird hit a good line and length in the main. Perth Scorchers, well, they need a decent power play here. They need a good 3 or 4, and they need their overseas imports to really step up. They need these points. It's a massive game. You would think bigger for Perth Scorchers and Adam Voges as opposed to the Sydney Sixers. Greg Shippard, the coach of the Sixers, doing a fine job. Interesting if, just thinking, I think back to those games in Cape Town. George Linda opened the bowling against Jason Roy, left arm spin against Jason Roy. Obviously the Sydney Sixers have got one. Back in the side, Stephen O'Keefe, highly experienced left arm spinner, into the attack.
And he comes for his 67th game in the Big Bash as the first ball's just on a good length, pushed into the offside for no run. He's been around a very, very long time, and as you say, it's a crucial game for the Scorchers. They've got 9 points, and just to emphasise the difference, the Sydney Sixers have 21 as the next ball's been played into the offside for no run. 2 dot balls for O'Keefe here to start with, very tidy. It's an experienced campaign and will add a lot of confidence to this Sydney Sixers team. In comes O'Keefe once again, back of a length this time, and the bowler can just sort of Q-end it back to him on the bounce. 3 dot balls in a row, building some pressure on Liam Livingston here. O'Keefe back to his mark very quickly, turns around and bowls straight away. Down the track comes Livingston and just clears that mid-on region. There is a man in the deep there at long on, and they'll take a single turn, but it's fair to say there was zero conviction in that shot. 8 for no loss after 1.4. Little wry smile from Niall O'Brien. He knows he got a little bit lucky there, Liam.
Yeah, he didn't get out of the middle at all, but this is the key battle here. Stephen O'Keefe, left arm against Jason Roy. Jason Roy's got to be very careful. That ball just coming through the gate, looking for a bowl and LB. I would suggest Stephen O'Keefe. Not a massive turn of the ball. Will Roy go leg side? I might try and go over extra.
In comes O'Keefe once again, back of a length this time, just cut to the backward point region for no run. And another dot ball from O'Keefe, just the one so far from his over with 1 delivery to go. Jason Roy, just a little bit of gamesmanship. They're making sure he's kept his man waiting, break that rhythm a little bit. And O'Keefe in once again, once more back of a length, hit hard by Roy, but can't beat the fielder at point. So an excellent start from O'Keefe, just the 1 run from his first over. 2 overs gone in this game. The Perth Scorchers 8 for no loss after 2 overs. And the Sydney Sixers, well, it's hard to say we'll be happier. I think they would like to have had a wicket so far, but containing these 2 batsmen is also somewhat of an achievement.
I think the Sixers will be delighted because it's going to be pressure on every over that goes past, and the boundaries don't flow. Both these batsmen, Livingston and Jason Roy, they like to hit boundaries. They're boundary hitters. They're plenty of aggression. They've got a bit of ego, a bit of bravado. They want to be hitting the ball into the stand and through and over the field. So I think the longer the Sixers can keep them quiet will build pressure on a side that is struggling a little bit for confidence. So it's a pretty good start here for the Sixers.
Yep, 8 for no loss after 2 overs. Remember, the Sixers won the bat flip earlier, not the toss. The toss is so 2020. It was the bat flip, and they've elected to bat first. In comes Jackson Bird now. Full delivery has been smashed down the ground by Liam Livingston. 1 bounce, 2 bounce into the fence for 4. That's exactly the shot he was looking for, Liam Livingston. A little bit of breaking of the shackles there. Jackson Bird smashed for another boundary. 12 for no loss after 2.1.
Yeah, both times that Jackson Bird has gone full, he's been pumped back over his head. Jason Roy in the first over advancing. This time Liam Livingston just batting outside his crease, so no pace from Bird.
Jackson Bird into his run once again. He bowls this time. There's a big swing from Liam Livingston, top edge. It's gone very fine. It's gone all the way, in fact, over the ropes for the first 6 of today's innings. And Liam Livingston, well, fortune favouring the brave. They're getting that top edge, getting it nice and fine, and a huge 6 for the fans in the Perth Stadium to enjoy. I'm just going to take another look just to confirm. It was a genuine top edge. It flew, rocketed off, and maybe just short of the boundary, I beg your pardon. So there'll be 4 runs. Well, before I commit to that, we'll take a look at it one more time, shall we? Here we go. Is it 4? Is it 6? Yeah, it's definitely 4, just short of the boundary rope. 16 for no loss after 2.2 overs. Livingston into double figures. He's on to 10 now from 8 balls. And the Perth Scorchers looking to turn it on a bit.
Well, it was a good bouncer actually from Jackson Bird. He's a little bit unlucky, but he had fine leg inside the ring, so it was always risky. Good short ball though, well directed.
Livingston on strike as in comes Jackson, but this time the ball's been smashed hard over mid-off, and this is a flat 6. It's gone a long way considering the trajectory was so flat. It's just flown over that mid-off fielder all the way across the boundary for 6. The first one of today's innings. Liam Livingston showing some proper intent now, just teed off. The score moves on to 22 from 2.3 overs, and some acceleration being shown by the Perth Scorchers. Lovely shot, that. It's a proper golfer's shot, wasn't it, Niall?
I'm not sure my golf shot would go that straight, to be perfectly honest with you. That was a really good hit. Really good hit by Liam Livingston. Got himself in a really good position, good base. Excellent backswing. It was fantastic. Just swung through the line. The ball only went about 15 foot in the air.
It wasn't airborne for too long, was it? As in comes Jackson Bird now, short this time. A wild swing from Liam Livingston. The ball beats the outside edge, goes through to the keeper for no run. So a little bit of moral victory there. Liam Livingston, maybe perhaps the blood just rushing through to his head a bit. 22 for no loss after 2.4.
You mentioned about the eyes of the world watching the Big Bash, and you're spot on, because it's not just the Big Bash franchises, or the Big Bash clubs I should say, that are watching these games. IPL, auction not far away, about 4 to 5 weeks away for the next IPL auction.
In comes Jackson Bird once again, this time striking the batsman on the pad. It's a big appeal. It's a stifled appeal, really, as the ball was going down leg side, pretty clear. But Jackson Bird will take the dot. 22 for no loss. Yes, as you were saying, Niall, absolutely. There's so much T20 cricket played now that you're constantly being scouted as a cricketer, aren't you? Yeah,
and there's every game is pretty much on being broadcast, and there's analysts watching and following every single game. And then you've got the England team. Where does Liam Livingston see himself within English cricket? How far does he feel he's away from getting into Owen Morgan's 50 over and T20 side?
Yes, we saw a little bit of Liam Livingston this summer against Pakistan. Memorably, almost hit a 6 off the last ball to win England a game. As another full delivery from Jackson Bird strikes the batsman on the pad in almost identical fashion. It just trundles into the offside. No run taken. So that's the end of the third over of this Perth Scorchers innings. 22 for no loss. Liam Livingston on 16 from 12. Jason Roy on 5 from 6. Both looking to make an impression. Jackson Bird a little bit expensive. 2 overs, 0 for 21 for him. But overall, the Sydney Sixers, you'd think, would still be reasonably quietly pleased with that, having not let these batsmen get away too much.
Well, I think after 2 overs, 8 without loss, Sixers would have been delighted. That was an expensive over. Bird got trashed all over the stadium, so Scorchers got a nice bit of momentum. I just think for Liam Livingston, I had quite a bit of sympathy for him actually last year, because he spent so many months in the bubble without playing much cricket for England. He's 12th man. It's all well and good, training and being coached by all these great coaches, and training with the likes of Ben Stokes in the nets and Joe Root, etc. But there's no substitute for playing cricket. And I went up to cover a game for Lancashire in probably August, September, and he just said, I'm out of nick. I haven't played a game in months. I've hardly played any cricket. I need to feel bad on ball.
O'Keefe in now from wide of the crease, smashed down the ground, smashed hard. The umpire takes evasive action as the ball was flying towards him. It goes down to long on. They take 2 runs. I beg your pardon, just the 1 run. It went really quick down to long on there as O'Keefe comes in once again. This time the ball's been smashed high up in the air. It's going up in the air in that mid-wicket region. Will it be taken over there? It is. Excellent catch in the deep. And the wicket has fallen. 23 for 1.
Doesn't drop many.
No, Jordan Silk there with the catch. It was a very difficult one. He was shielding his eyes from the sun there as well. He did really well to hold on to that and make it look actually a lot easier than it was. Very difficult in the deep over there. He's got his sunglasses, he's got his hat, and he took it Australian style, backwards as we say. And the first wicket has fallen after a very impressive start. Liam Livingston's gone for 16 from 13 deliveries. O'Keefe has the breakthrough. The Scorchers 23 for 1 after 3.2.
Well, it was a good catch. Jordan Silk doesn't drop many, although he did drop one last game. It was a fairly routine catch he dropped in the last fixture for the Sixers, but that was a good catch. Into the sun, bright sunshine. Good to see the fielder actually having his sunglasses on. Often you see the ball going in the air and a catch going down, and the fielder's got his sunglasses on the top of his head. So that was good from Silk. It's a good wicket for the Sixers, because a little bit of momentum was just being started by the Scorchers. Jason Roy was looking at good touch, and so was Liam Livingston. Potentially a needless shot when you've got so many off the previous over, and Stephen O'Keefe is only going to bowl this over, then probably come out of the attack. So it may well have been just tick him over for this over, take 6 or 7 singles and maybe pick up a boundary or a couple if you can.
Well, the new batsman is Colin Munro. He'll be at the non-strikers end as the batsman crossed over. He's had a disappointing Big Bash by his own standards as well, Colin Munro. As Jason Roy just works the next ball down to mid-wicket for a single. 24 for 1 after 3.3 overs. And as you say, Jason Roy hasn't quite got away yet. He's faced 8 deliveries for his 7, and it was really Liam Livingstone who was breaking the shackles with that top edge for 4, that flat 6 down the ground, starting to find this kind of arc, as we were saying, but kind of a needless mow into mid-wicket. Was it needless? Was he trying to up the pace? It's hard to kind of work out the risk-reward there, isn't it?
Sorry, good ball.
Yeah, listen, I'm very reluctant to say a needless stroke, because I think in T20 cricket, you know, all these batsmen are very capable.
In comes O'Keefe now, as the next ball's been pushed into the covers. No run taken, dot ball.
But at the same time, sometimes you've got to just realise the situation. You've had a decent 3 overs. You know, you've picked up a good over in the 3rd of Jackson Byrne. This is the last over, effectively, for the power play. So maybe just tick it over, get yourself up to 30 without loss, and reassess.
O'Keefe in once more. This time the ball's been pushed into the onside, and Munro will get off the mark with a single. So the score moves on to 25 for 1. 1 to come in the 4th over.
We were chatting about Liam Livingstone and where does he see himself in the England reckoning. You know, he's opening the batting here for the Scorchers. It's not really available in that England setup, especially in the T20. They've got so many players to choose from.
O'Keefe in once more, this time cut, but only as far as backward point. Good piece of fielding, the run through for the quick single, and they make it relatively comfortably in the end. And it's the end of the 4th over, 26 for 1. The Perth Scorchers with Munro on 1 off 2 and Jason Roy 8 off 9. And yes, as you're saying, Niall O'Brien, so Liam Livingstone opening the batting here for the Scorchers, and it's certainly not a spot you'd think is available for England. But I mean, how hard is it to affect your position in a batting lineup when you're playing franchise cricket or club cricket?
No, definitely you can. You know, when the call comes in from Adam Voges to Liam Livingstone or Liam Livingstone's agent, you know, we want him to come and play. Liam Livingstone's got to have one eye on his future. You know, there's no chance he's going to open the batting for England in the foreseeable in T20 cricket. So you look at someone like Sam Billings on the flip side. Sam Billings has basically pigeonholed himself now as a middle order batsman and someone who can try and finish games. And actually, it's a tough place to bat, but not many people want to do that. So I'm just wondering, was there ever a consideration for Liam Livingstone to think, right, I'm going to bat 4 or 5 and be that middle order power hitter and somebody who could try and finish off a game? So it's different strokes for different folks, but it just, you know, you always got to have one eye on the future. You don't want to turn down an opportunity. I'm sure if you spoke to Adam Voges as a player like that and give him that option, you'd have a discussion.
In comes O'Keefe now. This is back of a length and it's been cut, and it's not O'Keefe, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's Jake Ball who's come into the attack, and his first ball's been played for a single to the man sweeping in the covers. Jake Ball being introduced for the 5th over of this innings. 26 for 1 is the score, and yes, absolutely, it's fascinating to think how much influence you can have as a player, really, because you kind of think of, in the old school terms of cricket, of like, right, you're being brought in to do a job, and then you do that job, and then if that happens to have a knock-on effect on your international or other interests or stake or whatever else your stakeholdings are, that's fine. But in modern day, the players can have that kind of influence and say, well, I'll come and play some Big Bash cricket as long as you let me play at 4 or 5 or 6.
100%, absolutely. But potential 5. Okay, let's not mention Alex Hales again today. But
not after yesterday.
There's 5 players. So I'm just thinking in that middle order where England
by Munro races away fine all the way to the boundary for 4. Excellent shot. That's his first boundary there, and the first for a while for the Perth Scorchers. 33 for 1 after 4.4.
That's the old no-look hook. 139 Ks, good bouncer from Jake Ball. It was just in and around the head and that right shoulder of the left-handed Munro, but he just ducks the head, probably closes the eyes, but he finds the gap. He's a good player, Colin Munro. He's got a lot of ability, plays well square the wicket.
Jake Ball under pressure now after that boundary, and he comes. He bowls back of a leg this time again, just pushed into the onside, tucking the batsman up for room there as they run through for a single. Munro's on to 7 now from 5 deliveries, 34 for 1 after 4.5. And after this delivery, I'll take a little break and we'll get some more thoughts from you, Niall. But it was fascinating as we're talking about the depth and the strength in this English T20 side. We haven't even mentioned the world #1 batsman, David Malan. So you've got him as well. It's very difficult for someone to break into that lineup in any position, really. As Jake Ball in once again, it's a little bit shorter, and attempted pull shot by Jason Roy. He's missed it altogether, goes through to the keeper for no run. So after 5 overs, the Perth Scorchers are 34 for 1. Made a sort of 50-50 start, really. I'm going to let Niall O'Brien work through and analyse that start. And joining him momentarily will be, for the first time today, Simon Mann.
A pretty good start for the home side. Scorchers inserted after the Sixers won the bat flip. Looks a good pitch. Nice wicket, nice covering of grass, bit of pace and bounce as always. And Western Australia always get good value for your strokes. It looks a good wicket, and Jason Roy's been watchful. He's played a couple of lovely strokes down the ground, but generally he's been fairly watchful, especially against a left arm spin of Stephen O'Keefe. Munro's got going early. Liam Livingstone, disappointing for him. Looked really good, 16 from his 13, but I think the Scorchers will be pretty happy.
Hello, Niall.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I'm going to be in trouble, I think.
Here's O'Keefe bowling, and Munro is propping forward there and playing that up towards mid-off, and there's no run.
I'm going to be in trouble with David Malan. I didn't even mention, I was talking about all this abundance of talent with English disposal. I didn't even mention the #1, did I?
There's so many, aren't there? O'Keefe goes in and bowls a ball that's wide of off stump. Munro chops it towards deep cover, swept up by Jordan Silk in the deep. And there's one more run to the total. 35 for 1. Start of the 6th there. The crowd is quiet. It's not a huge crowd in at the Optus Stadium. It's a strange start time, really. You think of Big Bash, you think of evening cricket in Australia. But of course, they've started this early. Here is O'Keefe bowling to Roy. Drags it up towards long on, and they're through for another single. They're starting it early for the East Coast, so that it hits prime time on the East Coast in Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane and Adelaide, etc. Not that Adelaide's on the East Coast, but it's on that side of the country. Here is Munro on strike, goes back and guides that away off the back foot against the keeper, straight to Brathwaite, who's fielding at backward point. And there is no run. 36 for 1. It's also very hot as well, so that's the other benefit of nighttime cricket, is it cools down a bit and you can watch without getting burnt by the sun. O'Keefe ran the wicket to the left hand, and Munro hits this high into the air. That's got the crowd going a bit. Out towards deep mid wicket, and he's hit it for 6 as well. He's hit it into the crowd, woken a few up. It's a really good blow from Munro. Got hold of that one all right. Hoofed it out to deep mid wicket for 6. 42 for 1 coming to the end of the 6th over.
Well, it was a good hit because it's a big boundary. As always in Australia, most of the grounds are big. That's a big hit. Stephen O'Keefe just goes a little bit fuller and it gives it a little bit more flight. And that just opens the eyes for Munro. Left-hander against left-arm spinner. You're always looking for cow corner.
Munro to 14. O'Keefe bowls and Munro gets a full ball, which he shovels really. That sort of shovel drive really away on the offside up towards long off. That really was a manufactured shot from Munro. Takes him to 14. It's the end of O'Keefe's over. He's gone for 14 himself. Munro actually to 15 with that single, sorry. And Roy has 11. And it's 43 for 1 after 6 overs.
Yeah, good start. Excellent pitch. Really is a good looking pitch. Nice bit of pace and bounce. Not surprised really. Sixers deciding to have a field, get used to conditions, get into the game. But I think a good score. You'd be looking for something around the 175, 180.
Definitely.
Looks like a really good outfield. The ball's flying through the infield, but Sixers are playing good cricket, so they'll back themselves to chase down whatever the Scorchers can muster.
Sixers who won their last game to make it 5 wins out of 7. They go top of the Big Bash table with 21 points. It's when you look at the points table this year, it's harder to work out because you get 3 points for a win, and the Bash Boost point as well is on offer. So although they got those 21 points already and they're well clear of the teams towards the bottom, you can make it up with 2 or 3 victories. If you had a couple of 4-pointers, for example. Here is a new over from Bird, and that's forced away into the offside towards extra cover, and there is no run. Monroe stays on 15. Remember, Jackson Bird was called into the Australia were dominating the last Ashes series. He was called into the Melbourne Test match. Of course, it was the flattest pitch in the world, and Alistair Cook made 240. I felt a bit sorry for him, really. Let's bowl on that surface. 43 for 1. Monroe on strike. Bird bowls to him, and inside edge off the pad there, and Bird rushes forward and picks it up. And I say he picks it up, he actually left it, and then Monroe left it as well. He didn't want to touch it, and then Philippi, the wicketkeeper, came up and did pick it up in the end. I think there's a bit of byplay going on there about them saying, well, if you touch it, we'll appeal for handle the ball.
Oh, good. You get him out any old way.
The old Australian way. Any way will do. No. Roy 11, Monroe 15, 43 for 1. We're in the 7th over. Latest match in the Big Bash. We're just getting past the halfway stage now in this season's competition. Bird moves in and bowls to Monroe. Monroe tries to pull that and gets a toe ender. Doesn't really time it. Goes up to straight mid on, and they run through for a single. 44 for 1.
A strange old innings here from Monroe. He's hit a couple of beauties, especially that massive 6 in the last over. Then he's Q-ended a couple down to long off when they looked like he was trying to go through the leg side. So a bit of a ungainly start, you would say, from Monroe. And Jason Roy hasn't looked in any kind of touch either.
No, he hasn't, has he? He has struggled so far. He's played a few wafty type shots that have not come off. Bird bowls to Roy, and Roy gets a slower ball which he waits for. He spots and he dabs it down towards third man. Keefe is there, sends in the return to Philippi. That's one more to the total. 45 for 1 in the 7th over. Roy 12 from 14 balls. Give you some news from Sri Lanka and from some test news from Australia in just a moment, after this latest delivery from Jackson Bird. The news from Sri Lanka, just to preview it, is good as far as the England team's concerned. Bird goes in, bowls to Monroe, and Monroe chops that away down towards third man, into the shadows on the third man fence, and they come back for 2 runs. Monroe goes to 18 and the score to 47 for 1. That all the England players tested early this week. Yesterday, was it early this week? They've all produced negative tests. So that's good news for the tour of Sri Lanka. The first test starts on the 14th of January in Galle. Both test matches being played in Galle. England staying in Hambantota at the moment, which is in the area, but it's a way away from Galle. Here is Bird bowling, swung away by left-handed Monroe out towards deep mid-wicket, goes bobbling out to the field of their silk, and they go through for a single. So 48 for 1 after 7 overs. Poor old Moen has been here, there and everywhere. He went off to a hotel in Galle. That was still being built apparently, or there was some building works going on. They tried to move him to another hotel, and that one was deemed unsuitable. So he's back in the team hotel in Hambantota, but isolating. And he has got some mild symptoms now. There was a talk that he had no symptoms at all, but he's got some sort of mild symptoms. He's feeling tired, so it's difficult for him. He's going to have to, just keep to himself for many more days yet. But the rest of the party, it's my understanding, the rest of the party are practicing this afternoon. So I haven't got much time to prepare for the first test match. Sri Lanka prepared for it by getting thrashed twice by South Africa in very different conditions, mind you. You think of Centurion and the Wanderers, very bouncy pitches. Conditions will be very different in Galle. 48 for 1 after 7. Here's Dwarsus, the left armour, into bowl to the left-handed Monroe, who opens the face, fiddles that down towards third man for an easy single. 49 for 1, which brings Jason Roy back on strike.
Quite late for Ben Dwarsus to be brought into the attack, really. Eight overs in, you think of a tall, strong left armour, maybe give him a chance with the new ball. I think Stephen O'Keefe bowling 3 overs was a ploy definitely against Jason Roy to try and take out the England opening batsman, and he's kept Roy quiet, Stephen O'Keefe, but he hasn't managed to prize the overseas import out. So Dwarsus maybe into the attack a little bit later than normal.
Dwarsus left arm into bowl to Jason Roy. Bowls now short outside the off stump, pulled away by Roy, but again not timed, sort of dragged it up towards long on, and they've kept to limit on this at the moment, the Sixers bowlers. 50 for 1, 50's up inside the 8th over, but I agree with you. I think it's a decent enough pitch and free scoring enough pitch. Can they break free a bit later, the Perth Scorchers?
Well, they've had good field positioning, something we don't speak a lot about, actually. I think a lot of balls have been hit well, but they've gone straight to, especially Dan Christian, who's been kind of positioning himself at that long on boundary.
Here's Dwarfs bowling to Monroe. Monroe goes big this time, out towards the long off boundary and over it. Over the fielder, I should say. Might just have landed inside the rope. They'll just have to check that. I think that's gone away for 4 over Christian's head. Monroe took that on and it worked for him that time. That was one of the first ones we've seen where a batsman has taken it on and it's come off. Has that gone for 4 or 6? No, just to check this again. It was quite tight to the rope. 4 signal. Monroe to 24. Dwarfs goes in and bowls. Straight shot. That was the no-look sort of semi-pull that time from Monroe towards fine leg.
A short. Does not like a short. Just looking at Colin Monroe now for the first time up close and personal in a while. Does not fancy it short. They gave him a bit of a go in the longer format New Zealand, but was found wanting. Fine player. He's been all around the world. Good striker of the ball, but 2 bouncers he's received today. One from Jake Ball when he pulled it for 4 but wasn't even looking.
Got a single there. Dwarfs bowls to Roy. Roy comes down the pitch and slams it out towards wide long on. It's going bouncing away past Christian. That's gone for 4 as well. Well, this over, 2 batsmen have started to find their range. Roy goes to 17 from 16 balls. 59 for 1. Well, he made all that himself there, Roy.
Well, that was a good shot.
Sort of swivel pull out through wide long on. Almost like a baseball type shot, really.
He gave himself a little bit of room
and charged the bowler. Yeah. Dwarfs bowls to Roy, and Roy hits that into the offside. Doesn't quite time it. That wristy off drive that he plays. Gets a single, takes him to 18, and it's the end of 8 overs. 60 for 1. The Perth Scorchers against the Sydney Sixers. Sixers top, Scorchers struggling towards the bottom end, but they have picked up of late with a couple of victories. I think they're much happier to be back at home. They're playing on the east coast or in the east of the country for a while, touring around. That's the problem, actually, if you're a Perth player. There's a lot of travelling involved.
It actually turns, speak to a lot of the overseas players, it can go against the Scorchers when you think if you're maybe got an offer from a team in Melbourne or Sydney or Perth come in for you, it can be a deciding factor. You think, no, I don't really want to travel away every second game, as opposed to being in Sydney or Melbourne. You can jump on an hour flight and get to Brisbane or wherever. So it can go against them, but at the same time, they had this cult, the Perth Scorchers. They had this kind of cult, and when they played the Wacker, they call it the Furnace. They seem to have this kind of unbelievable fan base and club structure. Where I think the last couple of years it's just probably gone a little bit. A couple of players have left. I think of Sean Marsh leaving.
Klinger's gone as well.
Klinger's gone, and he was a mainstay. Every year he was banging out the runs and all the experience of the world. Now coaching the Renegades, and you'll think you might be looking over his shoulder, Michael Klinger, at the moment.
I think so, yeah. The Renegades have had a horrendous time of it. It's almost like a league with 7 teams, isn't it? I mean, they really are having an awful time of it. They were thrashed again yesterday. I mean, their bowlers are going for 200 and their batsmen are struggling to get 100. I mean, it's not a great recipe, is it?
That's not fantastic news, no. For Get On Red is their Twitter handle. Get On Red. Well, every batsman's getting on red at the moment against them.
160, 60 for 1, I should say, after 8. Here's Christian into the attack. Bowls to Roy. Roy gets a slower ball. Again, he wristily punches that away into the offside. Silks onto it, sends in the return. They're limited to a single. The other news I was going to give you from Australia is that India have named their side for the 3rd test, which starts tonight UK time at 11:30, and there's ball-by-ball commentary throughout the night, throughout the match, on 5 Live Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. It's fascinatingly poised, that series, after India's tremendous comeback in the 2nd test match. India have named their side. Rohit Sharma's back in place of Agarwal at the top of the order. Christian moves in, bowls to the left-handed Monroe. Slower ball. Monroe waits for it, guides it straight to extra cover, and there's no run. And Saini's going to make his debut in place of the injured Yadav. So they've had a couple of injuries in India. They've had to mix and match with their pace bowling attack. So 2 changes for them. Still waiting for news of the Australia side. You don't have to name it, of course, until half an hour before the toss. So a lot to look forward to. Here is Christian bowling to Munro outside the off stump, tries to chop it away, misses through to Philippe, and the score stays at 61 for 1 in the 9th over.
He's had a good campaign, Dan Christian, this season with the ball. Picked up 9 wickets. Obviously a new recruit in the off season, brings a lot of experience to the Sixers. A fantastic player for Nottinghamshire for the last 6 seasons. Champions here in the T20 Blast, obviously, but big hitter of the ball as well, Dan Christian. He's been a really good addition to the Sixers.
Well, he's had so many teams, hasn't he?
Quick info page is long.
Goes in now and bowls to Munro. Munro dabs it into the offside, gets a single. I mean, people talk about playing a Champions League of T20, don't they? You've got your individual leagues, but they're talking about, playing I don't know, Melbourne Renegades against the Mumbai Indians against the Nottinghamshire Outlaws. One of the problems is there's so many players play for lots of different franchises. It's so different from, say, in the Champions League in football, where you have your team, don't you? You play for Manchester United, or you play for Bayern Munich, or whatever. You play for Juventus, but lots of players play for lots of different teams. Roy tries the ramp shot there and misses it. Goes over the top of the stumps. Christian can barely believe it, and it goes through to Philippe. It was, I mean, normally these bouncy wickets in Perth, unless it's really full, the ball will go over the stumps. Just seeing the replay there, he went just past the leg stump. If it had been straight, I think it might have clipped the bails. Anyway, it wasn't quite straight.
Yeah, 19 from 19, Roy. It's a shot, a little bit of, not quite desperation, just searching for something. And
isn't he?
Dan Christian is not the bowler to play that little ramp shot, because most of his balls are going to be slower balls.
Yeah, he's searching here, Roy. Christian goes in, bowls to him, and hits that straight to extra cover, picks out the man. That was a good-looking shot, but it hit it hard, but straight at Daniel Hughes, the captain of the Sixers. And that's the end of the over. 9 overs have gone, and the Perth Scorchers, they're trying hard, but they're struggling to break free at the moment from the Sixers bowling, and the Sixers are showing why they have had a good season so far, why they're the champions, and why they're top of the league.
Yeah, they're a good side. They're a really, really good side. Top quality pros, a lot of experience. Jason Holder was there for a few games and did a great job. Carlos Brathwaite has been good with the ball mainly. He's more of a bowler nowadays, Carlos Brathwaite. All those memories of Eden Gardens in Kolkata seem to be a distant memory when it comes to Carlos Brathwaite and his hitting ability.
What happened there? I can't remember.
I was at a wedding, actually. I was watching the game on my phone under the table. I'll never forget it. The whole wedding party was cricket mad, and I think the whole ceremony just stopped, or the whole post church ceremony just stopped to watch the finales of that game. But Carlos Brathwaite, his batting has just declined massively, but now a very prominent bowler, very good bowler.
And here he is for his first over at 62 for 1. Slower ball first up. Munro waits for it, guides it straight to backward point, and there is no run. The shadows beginning to dominate this Optus Stadium. Of course, there's a bowl roof around the ground, so when the sun begins to dip, you've got about a third of the ground in shadow at the moment, and 2/3 in bright afternoon sunshine. Hot. Munro waits. Brathwaite round the wicket, goes in, bowls him. Munro comes to meet him, hits it into the shadows out towards deep backwards square leg, and they go through for another single.
Carlos Brathwaite obviously spending a lot of time in the UK now. Lives in Oxfordshire, I think, with his wife. Enjoyed his work on TMS over the summer. I thought he was excellent.
It's great to have him with us.
He was fantastic to listen to, I must say. Brought a real good energy and insight into the series against the West Indies.
63 for 1 in the 10th over. Brathwaite moves in and bowls to Roy. It's a low full toss. Roy again miscues it up towards long on. We've said that a lot so far about Roy's innings. Takes a single. He's still there, so while he's there, he can. Sometimes it's funny, isn't it? As a batsman, it'll click and you hit a couple in the middle, and you're on your way. But it hasn't happened for Jason Roy today. Not so far. 20 of 21 balls. 64 for 1. Munro gives himself some room and plays an up and over shot over the short third man fielder, guiding it away. That's nicely played, using the pace of the ball and using the field as well. And that's down to third man. And that's gone away to the boundary. Monroe to 31. He's played that really well. A sort of guided dab uppercut almost.
Yeah, because he gave himself a little bit of room, and Carlos Brathwaite actually followed him. It wasn't too bad a ball, but just gave him the length. It was really good execution from Monroe, lifting it over that third man.
68 for one. Brathwaite bowls full to Monroe, clips it away through square leg. Looking for two here. Dwarfs is onto it, and they come back for the second as well. The throw to Philippe coming out of the shadow there into sunshine. And he beat him. It was backed up behind him just as well. Everyone's got to be alive, of course. 70 for one coming to the end of the 10th. So we keep an eye on that score for the Bash boost point that the Sixers will need later on to get one, and they'll hope to turn that into 4. Monroe on 33 with those 2 runs. 33 off 25. Brathwaite goes in and bowls to Monroe, who knocks it into the leg side. And they're looking for 2 again here, just to the edge of the circle. But Vince comes quickly in a lovely magenta kit that the Sixers have. And there's only 1, so 10 overs have gone. It's 71 for 1, the Perth Scorchers. So a reasonable base, but I mean, we'll wait and see when the Sixers bat whether it's going to be enough, whether they need a really big score on this Perth pitch. 71 for 1. We're going to have a bit of a change, but a few more thoughts from Niall O'Brien, and then Atif Nawaz is going to come in and pick up the commentary.
Yeah, a good first 10 for the home side. I think, only losing 1 wicket is absolutely crucial. Okay, Jason Roy hasn't really got going. He's looked a little bit out of touch, but he's still there. That's the key for Adam Voges and the Perth Scorchers. Their main batting weapon in Jason Roy is still at the crease, and they've got the power surge up their sleeve. I think they might take it fairly soon. Colin Moreau has looked really good. He's looked inventive. He's hit the ball cleanly, especially leg side. He's hit a couple of big ones over that mid-wicket region. He's charged on occasion. He's looked in good touch, and the Scorchers are looking pretty well set. Sixers, on the other hand, they'd be pretty disciplined. Haven't created a whole lot of opportunities. The pitch is very good, I must say. It looks like a really, really good pitch. Plenty of runs in this pitch, so I don't think the Sixers will be too worried at the moment. They're having their chat now at the 10 over mark. 2 wickets. Let's get a couple of wickets here. Let's have a look at a couple of new faces. Daniel Hughes, the captain, just trying to rally the troops. They've used plenty of bowlers so far. They've got a lot of bowling options, so neck and neck at the moment. I think if I was in one camp, I'd rather be in the Scorchers camp. 9 wickets in hand.
Thanks, Niall. You can have a break for 15 minutes or so. And more from Niall O'Brien throughout this match on 5 Live Sports Extra, BBC Sounds, and the BBC Sport website. We're focusing today on the Perth Scorchers against the Sydney Sixers. Match being played in Perth. We've just had that 1 wicket to go so far. And Liam Livingston caught by Silk out at deep mid-wicket off the veteran, the canny Stephen O'Keefe, out for 16. It was 23 for 1 in the 4th over. 71 for 1 after 10. So the Sixers will need 72 for their Bash boost point today. And if the Scorchers can keep them under 71, then they'll get the point. 71 for 1 after 10 overs. The players have their drinks break, much needed drinks break as well, in the heat of a Perth afternoon. And what are we seeing here? Are we seeing, as paper is being scribbled on out there, which suggests we might be getting an X Factor introduction, Atif.
Yeah, so very, very exciting innovations. We talk about, the Bash boost point halfway through again, and something to keep track of. And I suspect, and we were talking about this just before we came on the air, like the significance and the tactical use of things like the Bash boost point and the X Factor subs, they'll become more and more apparent as teams get used to the tactical benefit of using such a feature to their advantage. But we're just trying to find out exactly who it was. We'll know momentarily who's been brought in for whom. But so far the Perth Scorchers have made a pretty good start here. 71 for 1 after 10 overs. Have set themselves a nice platform here, with Colin Munro on 34 from 26 deliveries. Jason Roy a little bit more circumspect, 20 from 21. Still trying to find a little bit more fluency, trying to find a little bit more form as the game resumes with the 11th over, with a short delivery outside the off stump. It's been carved away to deep extra cover for a single. Jackson Bird in now for his 4th over. It's unusual really for bowlers to be bowled out by the 11th over, but that's what's going to happen here. 72 for 1 after 10.1 overs. And yes indeed, so plenty of options still left for the Sydney Sixers with the ball as well, but they've opted to bowl out Jackson Bird, who's started so well and then just sort of lost his line a little bit without being too expensive. 27 of 3.1 these days, you'd kind of take that. You'd almost certainly take that, as there's just a little bit of adjusting of the field going on at the moment as we wait for Jackson Bird, who's back into the attack. Full delivery, this time driven down to long on for an agreed single by Jason Roy. He moves on to 21. 73 for 1 is the score, and they're looking quite solid here. It seems like the game's kind of poised at the moment, like something's about to happen. That second wicket's going to fall. We're going to see a flourish from these batsmen. Jason Roy, you get the feeling he's going to have to play some shots at some point, and don't forget that power surge is still to come as well. It's been the downfall of many teams so far when they've taken that power surge. It's not quite materialized into the run scoring paradox they've been hoping for, but perhaps we'll see the inverse of that today. It's just confirmation the Sydney Sixers have made use of the X-Factor swap. Leg spinner Lloyd Pope has entered in place of Ben Dwarshius, who's only bowled 1 over so far. As in comes Bird, this time the ball's gone, been skied high up in the air. Will it clear the fielder at long on? Only just clears him as he retreats and prevents the ball from going into the boundary. 2 runs taken by Munro, but definitely took his life in his hands there, as he moves on to 37. 75 for 1 after 10.3, and a bit of a chancing of his arm happening there, Simon Mann.
Yeah, so fascinating that they've gone for a leg spinner over a left arm pace bowler.
Interesting, not quite like for like, as a full delivery from Jackson Burton, smashed down the ground, dead straight all the way along the ground for 4 runs. Beautiful shot there from Munro. He's trying to get some intent going here. 41 from 29 he's moved on to, and the Perth Scorchers 79 for 1, looking to up the pace here, as well, we await to see the use of Lloyd Pope. It'll be interesting to see where you'd use a leg spinner with a second wicket partnership going quite strong, and in the second half of the innings.
And the surge to come as well.
Jackson Bird bowls a shorter delivery. He's just been pulled into the onside a bit uglily, to be honest with you, and just a single taken. 79 for 1 after 10.5. Jackson Bird's got 1 delivery to come in his 4 overs.
I mean, one reason you might use it is because of an injury, of course. He might be struggling with an injury. That's one possibility, but it doesn't seem an obvious change to bring in a leg spinner to bowl in the last 10 overs with 2 overs of surge as well.
And with 2 settled batsmen, as we say, as in comes Jackson Bird for his final delivery. Back of a length, has been punched through the covers by Munro for a single to the man sweeping in the deep. So that's the end of the 11th over. The Perth Scorchers 80 for 1. Remember earlier today it was the Sydney Sixers, top of the Big Bash League at the moment, who won the bat flip and opted to field first. And they started relatively tightly, but soon the accumulation for the Perth Scorchers begun. They've only lost the 1 wicket so far, and Colin Munro in particular has built an excellent platform. He's got 42 from 31 deliveries, a strike rate of 135. Jason Roy not quite finding that fluency he's become so famous for, Simon.
No, he's struggling. It's hard work for him, and it was in his last game as well. It was the others. It was Inglis who came in and smashed it after Roy was out. Well, here is Pope. I mean, Pope's been brought into the match, and he's been brought into the attack. Not quite straight away, but he's been given an opportunity. What does the captain do if he goes for 20 off the over here?
Yes, I mean, the X-Factor swap could prove costly, or it might pay dividends.
Absolutely, that's the other way.
In comes Pope, smashed down the ground by Munro, over the long-on boundary. And, well, there was some X-Factor behind that shot, but it wasn't from the X-Factor player, it was from the X-Factor batsman. He moves on to 48. Colin Munro, what a shot that was. 86 for 1 after 11.1 overs. And, well, if you're a Perth Scorchers fan, you'll be pleased. But if you're a Sixers fan, you'll be hoping that X Factor... Well, where is it? Where is the X Factor? We're waiting on the X Factor.
Interesting introduction, that. Smashed. Right, what have you got, Lloyd Pope?
And he comes again this time. Attempted reverse sweep. And Colin Munro gets a top edge. It just kind of floats out and drops into the deep covers. And they'll come back for 2 runs, which will take Colin Munro to 50 runs from 33 deliveries. An outstanding innings that's powered this Perth Scorchers start. This was a very, very solid base for them. They'll be looking at a big total here, largely on the efforts of Colin Munro. Great little innings here.
That's 8 of the 20.
In comes Pope once again. This time the ball's been played into the leg side, and there's a diving attempt at square leg for a catch. And in fact, it was such a good attempt, it's a wicket. The wicket has fallen, so the X Factor player has taken the wicket. It only took him 3 deliveries. There was a 6, there was a single, there was a 6 and a 2, I beg your pardon, and the third ball, it's a pretty tidy catch at square leg as the ball was really flying to him. And well, the Sydney Sixers turns out to be a genius introduction of the X Factor player. Lloyd Pope has made the breakthrough with his leg spin and ended a quite spectacular innings from Colin Munro. He goes for 50 from 34 deliveries. Excellent catch at square leg from Jackson Bird. And well, it's all happening, Simon. All of a sudden, it went from being quite a mundane, settled game to a game where everything's happening. 88 for 2 after 11.3.
6-2 wicket. If that's not X Factor cricket, I don't know what it is. It was an awkward one, actually, because he was feeling just in the shadow on the leg side. It was a low catch in the shadow, so I think it wasn't clear for everybody to start with whether he'd taken the catch. But there was no real celebration from Bird as well. It was nonchalant, really. Anyway, Lloyd Pope is in and he's got a wicket.
I think you've got to feel it's somewhat fortuitous for the team. I mean, when you introduce your X Factor leg spinner, that's not how you surely that's not how you picture your wicket's going to fall. But, well, hey ho. Jason Inglis coming in now, and he'll be on strike to Lloyd Pope, who comes in, bowls a good length delivery. It's just been worked into the onside by Inglis, who gets off the mark. It's Jossing the wicket-keeper batsman, who's in now. He's off the mark immediately. And Pope, well, 1 for 9 off his first 4 deliveries. It's definitely been entertaining, that much we can say for sure. 89 for 2 now, the Perth Scorchers, as Pope comes in once again, this time cramping the batsman for room. And Jason Roy is just in all sorts, really. Can't really get that anywhere. Dot ball, 89 for 2.
Whether they saw in Steve O'Keefe's bowling spell just enough in the pitch to think, actually, a spinner here might be better than a pace bowler. That might be the reason for the change.
Yeah. Pope in once again, this time short outside the off stump. It's been cut straight, hammered really, and as the ball's been ricocheted by the bowler down to long on for a single. So that completes an eventful over from Lloyd Pope, the X Factor substitute. 90 for 2, the Perth Scorchers after 12 overs. Jason Roy, you get the feeling, is now going to look to up the pace a little bit. He's got 22 of 24. Really, you've got to get over that 100 mark with a strike rate now. Take advantage of this platform that Munro has helped build. Superb 50 he played.
Roy's at the moment, he's batting in quicksand, or he's in one of those dreams where you're trying to run and you can't go anywhere. We've seen a bit of that so far in this Big Bash. He's trying to thrash it and cut it and pull it. Nothing's working for him. He's not timing anything so far.
It's one of those instances you can actually see the pressure on the player, like he's physically manifesting all of the pressure that he's feeling. So he knows the expectations are big on him. Right, now then, in comes Jackson Bird. Sorry, I beg your pardon, it was Jake Ball, as the ball's been played down to long on for a single. It's Dan Christian, I beg your pardon, it's Dan Christian who's back into the attack. He's had a good first over, only went for the 2 in his first over, Dan Christian. He's been a bit of a wicket taker for the Sixers in this tournament, and been mighty effective with the bat as well. Just been one of those cricketers, evergreen, Dan Christian. 91 for 2, the Perth Scorchers after 12.1. Just holding up in his run up a little bit as the batsman adjusts his guard. Only been there for one delivery, Inglis. Reasonable to fix your guard again. Now then, in comes Dan Christian. He bowls, it's a full delivery, Yorker length, it's been dug out into the leg side by Inglis. Will take a single. And the score moves on to 92 for 2 after 12.2 overs. Jason Roy, 23 from 25, really just struggling to find any kind of fluency at the moment. But crucially for him, he's still there. While you're still there, you can kind of bat yourself into form, can't you? Sometimes you've got the platform. Christian in now, and the short's been pulled into the mid-wicket region by Jason Roy. There's an excellent diving stop in the deep, and the batsman will come back for 2. So a bit of aggression there from Jason Roy. Score moves on to 94 for 2 off 12.3 overs. Remember, we're still waiting for the power surge. 2 overs where the batsman can theoretically take advantage of more liberal field placement. Essentially a power play addendum as a low full toss from Dan Christian's been worked to deep backward square leg by Jason Roy. Just a single this time. He looks up into the heavens of Perth as Roy is very uncomfortable at the moment. 95 for 2 after 12.4 overs. Struggling to settle at the moment. Jason Roy just doesn't look comfortable at all. Dan Christian, meanwhile, back at the top of his run, perspiring in that Perth sun. And he comes, he bowls. The ball's been skied up in the air. One bounce to the third man region. The batsman will come through for a single. Just playing with fire there. Dan Christian thought for all the world that he'd got the breakthrough, as he has done so often for sixes in this tournament. 96 for 2 now. Perth Scorchers after 12.5 overs. So you get the feeling this game is just building to a crescendo. 96 for 2. In comes Dan Christian once again, short outside the off stump, and almost like a tennis serve there from Jason Roy. He was looking for an ace. In the end, he just found the bowler who just deftly just collected the ball and nothing happened. So 6 runs off that over from Dan Christian, 96 for 2 after 13 overs. The Perth Scorchers struggling to up the pace here as we head towards the climax of this innings.
Roy's going to be 39 not out at the end of these 20 overs, but not for want of trying. He's trying everything.
He's playing multiple sports. He's trying to put a bit of tennis there as well.
He's trying everything he knows, and you can just sense his frustration. The way he's shaking his head, the world's against him at the moment.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, but as we say, crucially, he's still at the crease. He's still got, while you're there, you're still alive, you've still got a chance to turn everything around. If you get another 20 or 30 runs off the next 10, 15 balls, the scorebook will look very, very different. I'm sure a lot of people have him in their super coach teams as well. I'll be keen for him to fire.
One other thing, Atif, he's not had a great deal of the strike. We've had 13 overs so far, so that's 78 balls. He's only faced 28 of the 78 balls.
Lloyd Pope in once again. Nice and full this time, and the ball's been driven to extra cover for no run by Inglis. Dot ball for Lloyd Pope, don't forget. The X-Factor player of the ball was thrown back into the umpire.
Well, that's the benefit of, or the disadvantage of playing at this time of the day, because you've got the sun on one part of the ground and the shadow on the other.
As Pope hit short this time and pulled to deep backward square leg for a single.
And the ball came in and Pope just couldn't see it, so he actually turned his back and didn't know where it had gone. I think it hit him or hit the umpire on the way back, but Pope had no idea where that ball was going.
Yeah, he's got a lot to think about, Lloyd Pope, the X-Factor player so far. This leg spinner, as he bowls another one back of a leg, has been carved in a rather unattractive fashion by Jason Roy down to deep extra cover for a single. So he's got 27 of 29 deliveries so far, Jason Roy. Not for lack of trying either. Inglis on strike as in comes Lloyd Pope. Inglis comes down the track and works that down to long on for a single. Perth Scorchers closing in on their 100 now. They've got 99 for 2 off 13.4 overs. Just slightly been pushed back into the shell after That dismissal from Monroe. Short outside the off stump and just bottom edged by Jason Roy. Boy, you got a feel for him. No run scored. It was right there for the taking, that delivery. He sort of played 3 different shots at it. In the end, just bottom edging it to the keeper's area and no run scored. In comes the Lloyd Pope once again. This time, Jason Roy gets underneath it, scoops it up in the air. Will it clear the deep backward square fielder? It won't. So that ends Jason Roy's rather miserable innings. 27 off 30 for him, but it's all about the X-Factor substitute, Lloyd Pope, who takes his 2nd wicket. We thought the leg spinner might be an unusual choice, but in the end, 2 for 13 from his 2 overs so far. And it seems like it's been a masterstroke from the Sydney Sixers. Excellent catch in the deep as well. And the 3rd wicket has fallen for the Perth Scorchers, 99 for 3 after 14 overs. And well, that X-Factor sub has done quite a job here for the Sixers. Edwards with the catch. What do you make of this, Simon, man?
Well, he's been put out of his misery, hasn't he, Jason Roy? He went for it. It's maximum effort to try and clear the road for deep backward square leg. I think he was one of those, right, this has got to go. Something's got to happen here. And he couldn't quite clear Edwards at deep backward square leg. And the introduction of Pope has worked. He's picked up a couple of wickets. They saw earlier from Steve O'Keefe, actually, 3 overs for 14. They probably saw just enough in the pitch to think, hold on a second, it might be worth bringing in our spinner, our leg spinner, in place of a pace bowler. Okay, he went for 6 off his first ball, but since then he has been a really worthwhile introduction for the Sixers. And 99 for 3 with only 6 overs left. And Mitch Marsh coming to the crease.
Yes, absolutely. Mitch Marsh has got a lot of experience behind him as well. He's a senior member of this team, but as has often been the case, he's come in with not a lot of time to bat and this kind of pressure to make an immediate impact. Let's see what he can do for the Perth Scorchers here. 6 overs to go. I think they'd want at least 10 and over from here at least, as he starts with a full delivery. It's been driven beautifully, absolutely gorgeous shot all the way along the ground, and well, almost against the run of play there, a gorgeous cover drive that's raced away for 4. Only the 9th boundary of this innings. Jake Ball just putting the ball in the slot, and what a gorgeous shot that was. Perth Scorchers bring up the 100, 103 for 3.
Jason Roy, if he's not throwing his bat against the wall and ripping his pads off and throwing them around the dressing room, if he'd seen that, why didn't they bowl that to me? It was a lovely half volley, and Mitch Marsh creamed it through the offside. Roy barely timed anything.
Ball in once again, back of a leg, turn into the onside, and Mitch Marsh will run through for a single. The score moves on to 104 for 3. Yes, you can't ask for many better balls than that for your first ball. And just really getting hold of it. But having said that, the way Jason Roy was batting, you'd think he'd find a way at the moment to make a meal of that one as well. 104 for 3 after 14.2. Jake Ball just struggling a little bit with the sunshine coming onto his face. I think he's having to run between shadows. It's causing him trouble as he comes and bowls back of a length, guided off the face of the bat by English. Nice and fine to the 3rd man fielder. They'll take a single. The score will move on to 105 for 3 after 14.3 overs.
It's 20 past 5 in Perth, and the shadow is almost on the pitch. It's a strange light for the players to be playing in. Bright sunshine on one side of the ground, and then the shadow cast by the roof on the other.
Jake Ball in once again. He bowls, this time pulled by Mitch Marsh into the leg side. They take the first one quickly. There's a bit of a clash between the fielders in the deep and the leg side, and I suspect the batsmen will come back for 2. Yes, they will. They do come back for 2. Unnecessary clash there. I suspect again it has to do with that lighting, Simon. Just players being thrown off a little bit disorientated by the shadows there.
Silk and Vince, isn't it? Vince is on the player mic at the moment, so perhaps he's distracted by that as well.
But I said, not a fan of those player mics. Not a fan at all. 107 for 3. In comes Jake Ball, back of a length, pushed to the short point. Fielder, no run scored. Good bit of bowling this from Jake Ball as well, just a bit containing, not giving anything away. As Mitch Marsh is happy to play his shots. He's got 7 from 3 deliveries already. 107 from 4, I beg your pardon. 107 for 3. 1 delivery to come in the 15th over. This game is poised for some big hitting in these last 5 overs. Remember that power surge still to come as in comes ball, and a play and a miss by Mitchell Marsh. Excellent delivery, just leaves him as it goes through to the keeper for no run, as the score is 107 for 3. We'll have some thoughts from Simon Mann, and he'll be joined by Niall O'Brien.
Before you go, Artif, I mentioned the overnight news from the England camp that they've all passed their COVID tests, apart from Moeen Ali. I mentioned the Indian team news. What I haven't mentioned is New Zealand beating Pakistan in the second test match. What on earth's gone on?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, sadly, for Pakistan fans. Another innings defeat for them, and really they were completely outclassed. And this new bowler that the New Zealand team have unearthed, Carl Jamieson, has done a number on Pakistan. And we'll go into more detail if absolutely necessary a little bit later on. But for now, okay, I'll take my leave, and I'll leave you in the wonderful company of Niall O'Brien.
Yeah, Jamieson took 6 more to go with his first innings. So what was that, 11 in the match for Carl Jamieson? If you've seen Cameron Green for Australia, he's of similar stature, and he gets that pace and awkward bounce. He really is a find for New Zealand. He's made an excellent start to his test match career. He picked up 11 wickets in that match at the Hagley Oval in Christchurch, and New Zealand have won again. They're waiting for other results now as far as the World Test Championship finals concerned. We'll see how all those results play out. Of course, it's significant. England playing Sri Lanka, England playing India, Australia playing India. There's a lot to play for in the next few weeks and months. 107 for 3 after 15 overs. Marsh has 7, Inglis has 6. Christian's into the attack. He bowls there to Inglis, who goes leg side, hits it inside out, over mid-off, and that's gone away for 4. Score advances to 111 for 3, and Inglis to 10. Marsh is on 7. Niall O'Brien, what about that innings from Jason Roy? You must have had days like that in your cricket career.
Sometimes those kind of days you think, I'm probably better off hitting one to cover and getting out, because everything Jason Roy tried just didn't come off, and in the end it was really a horrible innings, to be fair.
Christian bowls to Inglis, he goes leg side again, and Christian really follows him there. It was very wide, that delivery. The pad went into the offside and they went through for a run, a leg by, 112 for 3 in the 16th over. Now, Christian could have 2 things there. He could have followed the batsman, or he could have just bowled it wide of his off stump, and he never would have got there. It would have been well inside the line, because he went so far to the leg side, Inglis. Mitch Marsh is on strike, who had a lovely half volley first ball. He creamed to the long off boundary. Christian in now, bowls to Marsh. Marsh gets this off the pads, a dive from Brathwaite, half stopped at short fine leg. Has to run back, and they come back for 2 runs. Really weird light with the shadow almost on the pitch, but there must be something on the roof, and so there clearly is something on the roof creating the shadows. There are like spikes over the pitch, spikes of shadow over the pitch as well.
Keep the pigeons off. Keep the pigeons off the roof.
Yeah, that's what it is, do you?
You see these spikes on these buildings all around the world. Keep the pigeons off.
It's like something out of a medieval castle. Christian bowls, short, swung away by Marsh, down towards fine leg. Fine leg is up inside the circle. That has gone away for 4. Very risky, dealt with there.
Very risky ploy here from Dan Christian. He's got a lot of experience, but he's bowling around the wicket, and he's almost not threatening the stumps whatsoever. So batsmen have almost got a free hit leg side, because you're not going to get bowled or LB. It's fairly risky here from the experienced Dan Christian. Mitch Marsh, he's got going early here. As you mentioned, a lovely half volley first up, put it away. He's put that one away nicely.
It's on 13, it's 118 for 3, 16th over. Christian goes in, bowls to Marsh, down the leg side. Marsh stayed in place there, and Christian bowled the ball. He bowled right throughout the over, and it was way down the leg side. That right arm round angle. Marsh said, I'll just wait inside the line, see what you come up with. Just came up with a wide. 119 for 3 in the 16th.
Well, I think if you, as a batsman, if you set up with your right foot, your back foot on middle and off stump, and open up your front leg, you've almost got to free hit every ball leg side, because everything's going to be in and around that leg stump region.
Christian to Marsh, full, driven, down towards long off. That's gone for 4. Mid off is up inside the circle. And suddenly, Perth Scorchers found some fluency in their batting. Marsh is 17 off 8. It's 123 for 3 in the 16th.
I was listening from the back of the box when you were speaking about Jason Roy, whether he's throwing his bat and pads. I don't think he would have seen the half volley that Mitch Marsh got, but I guarantee he's seen the long hop and the second half volley he's got.
Christian into bowl to Marsh. Full on leg stump, turned away by Marsh towards deep back with square leg. They're through for a single. It's the end of the over. 16 gone. 124 for 3. The Perth Scorchers against the Sydney Sixers, the leaders in this season's Big Bash. So 4 overs to go. Marsh on 18. Inglis on 10. And unless I've missed something, the surge hasn't been taken yet, has it? No. So we're still waiting for the surge. That could change things all again for the Perth Scorchers. Of course, it could also give you a wicket opportunity as well if you're a Sixers player.
Well, I think they should have taken it when Munro and Roy were there. It may just have unleashed the shackles on Jason Roy and maybe got a few away and got his innings going, got a little bit of momentum into his knock. But as has happened a lot of times this time, we'll wait, the batting side just wait, we'll wait a little longer. Okay, we might just wait one more over, and all of a sudden you lose a wicket or two and you've lost any kind of momentum. But Mitch Marsh has wrestled that back, and Josh Inglis has looked good. He's in a bit of touch. He's 10 from 9, but I was very impressed, I must say, with the Sydney Sixers using their X factor. First ball poke gets smacked into the stand, but he bounced back brilliantly. And sometimes you've got to say, take your cap off to the coaches.
Yeah. Ball is into the attack for his third over. He's on for 16 so far. His first ball of a new spell is a full toss on leg stump, and is whipped away by Marsh for 4, and that felt like a gift, really. It's right in Marsh's hitting zone. Thanks very much indeed. Ball on his debut for the Sixers on Sunday, bowled 2 overs for 7, and then went absolutely round the park. His last over went for 20, went for over 40 in the end. Pretty unconvincing final over. That wasn't a great delivery either. And to Marsh, as he's saying, I want a man at deep mid-wicket. Possibly. Ball goes in, bowls to Marsh outside the off stumps, full. Toe ender through extra cover. Hughes runs round, picks it up. Marsh trots back for 2 runs. Beginning to find some momentum. Actually, I mean, they need it as well, really. Only 3 and a bit overs left after this one. 130 for 3. It's one I feel about the Optus Stadium, one of the higher scoring grounds in Big Bash. There's something there for the bowlers as well, but you do get value for your shots. Marsh is on 24 from 11 balls. Ball turns. Goes in now and bowls to Marsh, and Marsh gets a leg stump half volley, which he hoists into the crowd at deep back with square leg, well back into the crowd as well. And Marsh is 30 from 12 balls, and it's 136 for 3 midway through the 17th. Having said that, you've still got to put them away. Having said that, he has been dealt some absolute rubbish.
They call him the Bison. Mitch Marsh, big strong man, loves the gym, apparently spends a lot of time in the gym, had a lot of injury problems all through his career, but no doubting his ability, and he's a clean striker of the ball, Mitch Marsh, and he's got going nicely. In effect, actually, Jason Roy getting out when he did is probably a blessing. You don't like to say that about any batsman, and it's not, to put Jason Roy's innings down to a certain respect, but Mitch Marsh come in doing such a good job, and sometimes that's the way the game goes as a batsman. Jason Roy probably feels it himself.
Marsh has gone past Roy already. He's only faced 12 balls. That's full outside the off stump, powered up to mid-off, straight at the fielder, Brathwaite. Ball comes up with a dot ball. You
look at the Sixers side, and obviously very good team. You would think there's probably room in this bowling lineup for Pope to play, because you've got O'Keefe who's going to bowl, you've got Jackson Bird, Jake Ball, Ben Dorsh's, Dan Christian and Carlos Brathwaite are going to bowl plenty of overs as well, so you think there's almost space for the leggy to come into 11.
There's Ball bowling to Marsh, and Marsh drives it back. It's a nice looking shot, but he hits it into the middle stump at the non-striker's end. Ball comes up pats the stumps as well fielded, sir.
He needs it. He needs the extra man here at the moment. Sydney Sixers against Mitch Marsh. No value in playing so straight. You better just skewing it into leg side for 2.
Woke the umpire up as well behind the stumps, because it was hit back very hard. It was coming towards him for a moment before the middle stump intervened. 136 for 3. Last ball of the 17th. Ball moves in. Bowls to Marsh. And Marsh gets a slower ball, full delivery, which he digs out into the onside towards mid-on. And says, OK, I can't hit it for 4 or 6, but I'll have the single. I'll be on strike for the first ball of the next over. It's 137 for 3 after 17 overs. And we are still waiting for the surge, although there has been a surge of sorts from the Perth Scorchers thanks to Marsh, who's 31 from 15. Roy today 27 off 31. It's also worth bearing in mind now the fact that he didn't have a great deal of a strike.
Yeah, well, you made that point.
For him as well.
He only faced about 30% of the balls that had been bowled, and sometimes that can be a little off-putting, but in saying that, I think Jason Roy is just struggling for a little bit of touch, a little bit of rhythm. Quarantine, bubbles, etc., etc. Just probably struggling to get into a routine, probably training-wise and his form. So I'm sure it will turn. He is the kind of player, Jason Roy, that, as you've mentioned earlier in commentary, 1 or 2 balls out of the middle can actually just reignite him. And I thought today might have been that day. He smacked one over a deep mid-wicket / wide mid-on. And right, that's going to be Jason Roy now. But he just struggled to get going. But at the moment, the Scorchers are going all right.
Here is O'Keefe for his final over. Bowls outside the off stump to Marsh, who forces it to deep cover, and they'll come back for 2 runs. It's behind cover, almost backward point on the offside. Marsh back for 2 more. He's on to 33 now. Roy out for 27. Livingston for 16 and Monroe for 50 off 34 balls. O'Keefe left arm round the wicket, bowls to Marsh, who slaps this down the ground high out towards the long arm boundary and over it. Again, that was power. Niall mentioning Marsh's gym work, and he's a very good looking athlete, strong upper body, and that was all about power really.
Yeah, straight pull. Sometimes you see that ball short and batsmen will kind of rock back and try and pull it over mid-wicket, but Marsh hits it straight back over the bowler's head, just clubs it really, baseball style, whatever you want to call it, absolute smacks it. This is a great knock. He's
on to 39. It's 145 for 3 in the 18th. O'Keefe goes in and bowls, driven away by Marsh towards deep extra cover, picks out Vince on the boundary, so it's only a single. Marsh up to 40.
You've shown all your expertise, because before a ball was bowled today, you thought, I'm sure a team are going to start taking this power surge in the last 2. Look, what a man.
Looks like it, doesn't it, today?
In the presence of greatness here.
Yeah. Well, it's taken a long time to happen. O'Keefe, his last over, goes in now and bowls to Inglis. Inglis smashes it back past the bowler in the air. That's gone for 4 as well. Long off and long on, but he hit it between them. Great deal of power. And these two playing a completely different game to the one Jason Roy was playing earlier. They are timing it, hitting it well. Beginning to come off for them. Inglis has been struggled a bit more than Marsh. Inglis goes again, out towards the long on. And that's gone for 6 as well. There's a shout of catch. It was a flat one, but he had enough on that. And the Perth Scorchers fans, well, they were a bit quiet earlier, and there weren't that many in the ground. There are now, as we move past work time. And they're making a lot of noise. Inglis goes to 20 and scored to 156 for 3. O'Keefe goes in, bowls short this time, pulled away by Inglis, out towards deep mid-wicket. He's caught by Jordan Silk, wearing his sunglasses, looking into the sun, and Inglis is on his way for 20. So O'Keefe, towards the end of his spell, picks up his second wicket. He's finished 2 for 33. It's 156 for 4 after 18 overs. The key thing for the next over, and Marsh will be on strike, because that's clever from Marsh actually, because he saw the catch was going out towards deep mid-wicket, and he said to Inglis, don't run, you're going to be out, mate. I want to be on strike for the next over.
Now, it's good innings though. Josh Inglis, 20 off 12. He'd be disappointed though, because he just hit the previous one for a boundary, and he gets a long hop. Actually, Stephen O'Keefe drags one short. Inglis tries to go over the big leg side boundary, but picks out Jordan Silk, who doesn't drop many. Second catch for him today, but it's a really good knock. It was a good partnership with Mitchell Marsh. 156 with 2 remaining. If you can smack another 30 here, up over 180, 185, it's a really good score. And it is a good pitch though. It's a really good pitch. Get good value.
156 for 4. Turner is in at number 6, who is a very destructive batsman himself. But he's at non-striker's end. Here's Dan Christian going in to bowl to Mitch Marsh. There's a short, slower ball which is pulled away out towards deep back with square leg. Vince is there. Marsh can only get a single. 157 for 4. First ball of the 19th over. And means Ashton Turner comes down on strike. I mean, he's a very destructive player to have coming in so late, really, Turner. I've seen him turn games, win games in that middle order for the Perth Scorchers. There's plenty of attacking talent. The way Roy has bunged it up a bit today. Here is Christian going into bowl to Turner. He's bowling over the wicket now. Bowls to Turner. Turner dabs it into the offside and says, well, I'll just rotate the strike, get Marsh back on strike for the next ball. He's off the mark. 158 for 4. Marsh there on 41. Prowling at that striker's end, wondering what damage he can do here in this penultimate over. Now Christian going for 26 so far, with 4 balls left of his spell. Coming out of shadow. Marsh. Turner having a look round. He's going round the wicket now. Christian goes in and bowls a low full toss. It's a no ball. And they run through for a leg by. It's a no ball, so Turner's going to be on strike for the free hit.
Well, I wonder that Mitchell Marsh contemplate maybe turning the single down. You mentioned a clever bit of batting in the previous over to make sure he stayed on strike when Josh Inglis was going to get caught. But I just wonder, just looking when he got hit in the toe and he realised it was a no ball, there was a split second when he thought about, I might just turn the one down and have a free hit.
Well, he probably wanted to turn it down.
Couldn't turn it down, could you?
Not with Ashton Turner on strike. No. I mean, Turner's capable of, I know he's just come in, but he's capable of smashing it over the rope here as well. And also it gives Turner that licence, doesn't it? The player has just come in.
160 though, it's a good score here in the Scorchers, especially at the mid-innings break. Just over 70 on the board. You thought they're going to have to go some to get to that 180 mark. Well, they should get 180 now, and then they'll be hoping for one out of the screws here.
Christian goes in and bowls a low full toss, and it was driven by Turner up towards long on. They didn't really make the most of that.
Let's go back to what we spoke about last over Christian Bell. He's bowling around the wicket to the right-hander. He's not trying to pitch anything pretty much. At best, Christian's saying, I'm going to bowl a leg stump Yorker. So I don't know why the batsmen don't get set on that middle and off stump with your back foot. Keep your front leg open and just swing leg side. At the moment, the batsmen are playing into Christian's arc because they're trying to get in line with the ball almost.
Single to Turner there off the free hit. Marsh is on strike. Christian bowls very wide of off stump, and Marsh goes after it, powers it out towards deep backward point, and they come back for 2 runs. Might have been a wide there if he'd left it, but you see it wide, you go for it, don't you, especially in this stage of the match. 163 for 4. They set the Renegades 186 in their last game, and they beat them by 96 runs, but that's the Renegades. So this is the Sydney Sixers who they're going to have to defend against, and the likes of Philippi at the top of the order, Vince as well, I suppose, and some power hitters in Christian and Brathwaite down the order. The silkiness of Daniel Hughes and Jordan Silk. 163 for 4 in the 19th over. Marsh on strike. Christian bowls leg stump full toss, helped on its way for 4. Fine leg up inside the circle, and another boundary for Mitch Marsh. On to 47 now from 22 balls. It's 167 for 4. Coming to the end of the 19th.
Well, it's clever batting, just as I spoke about. Just stay in your crease, get yourself a good base, and Christian's actually feeding balls to hit freely on the leg side. It's a free hit, really. It's a outside leg stump, full toss, shin high, and he's bowled 5 or 6 of them. He's not happy, Dan Christian, but if I'm a batsman, I'm disappointed I haven't hit that in the stands for a maximum, let alone a 4. It's pretty poor bowling.
Yeah, it was there for the shot. Fine leg up inside the circle, full toss out inside the line of the pads.
It's an art that Dan Christian has made his own really last year, and credit to him, because he only bowls around 100 25 Ks. He's not expressive. He bowls a lot of slower balls, but when you've got a season campaign like Jake Ball in the attack, you think you might have went to him.
Christian to Marsh. Marsh gets a full toss outside the off stump, driven away into the offside. Very well stopped by Hughes, tumbling away to his right. And extra cover. Marsh gets a single only. He's on 48. It's 168 for 4 after 19 overs, so 1 over left for the Perth Scorchers. You're on course for that score again in the 180 region. Decent last over here. You back them, I think, to get 10 or 12 in this last over.
Yeah, she'll get 180. I don't think 180 is going to be guaranteed. Sometimes you get 180 in a pitch and you should win. I don't think that's the case here, because I think it's a really good pitch. And that's probably why they brought Lloyd Pope into the attack, actually, because it looked like the seamers were a lot easier to hit than potentially the spinners. So the Sixers brought in the X-factor player Lloyd Pope, because spin might have been a little bit more difficult. So it's good work by the Sixers. But Mitch Marsh, 48 not out off 23. Absolutely sensational lock. Really, really brilliant. Strike rate at 208.
So Jake Ball is going to bowl the last over. Bowled the last over the other evening. He went for 20. But in a way, that's why you're in the team, isn't it? He's not to bowl these overs. No place to hide. You have to come up with something, come up with a plan. It was a lot slower ball bounce as he employed the other evening, but he got it wrong actually in the last over. Here is Ball moving into bowl. It's very full. It's dragged into the onside up towards long on. It's a low full toss outside the off stump. Marsh frustrated with himself there. Slaps his pad with his bat.
Well, around the wicket as well here, Jake Ball, and he's got deep square leg, deep mid wicket and long on. So you think he's going to probably bowl Yorker, maybe middle of the leg Yorker, and then his slower ball, back of a length slower ball. Problem bowling a back of a length slower ball is if the batsman pick it, both of these players are very strong hitters leg side, and they should clear the ropes.
Turner on strike, just come in, he faced 2 balls. He plays an amazing ramp shot. That's gone away for 4, 1 bounce. He fell over after playing it. He was so far outside the off stump. It's one of the most remarkable ramp shots you'll ever see. I think, how is it possible to even hit that for 4? It's an amazing shot. It's like a building collapsing away to the offside as he played it.
Leaning tower of Turner.
Oh, astonishing shot. Now a forward roll.
Well, it's not what you expect, because as a bowler in a field, you see 2 big strong hitters and you're not expecting them to get down and paddle and ramp.
Well, that was absolutely astonishing from Turner. Ball goes in and bowls to Turner, gets a slower ball from Ball, and they run through for a bye. Has he made his ground march? The throw hits the stumps from Philippi. I think he has. It hit him on the thigh pad, something like that. No, he got some glove on it. But he was deceived by Ball there. Went on the bounce through to Philippi, threw the ball at the stumps. He got through for a run. Turner to 7. 174 for 4 with 3 balls left of the innings.
That's where you need as a keeper and bowler. I always felt you needed a little cue for the slower ball, because you can get up a bit closer and take the catch.
Here is Ball bowling to Marsh. Marsh gets it full ball, which he slams down the ground for 4. It's in the slot, mid-off is up, and Marsh powered it down the ground to bring up his 50. 53 from 25 balls. He'll be disappointed. The innings is coming to an end.
That's a great knock. Really, really fantastic. He got a half volley first ball of his innings and put it away, and he hasn't looked back. It's brilliant batting, brute force. It was absolutely cannon down the ground, gets himself in a great position again. Yeah, that back foot's nice and stable, opens up the front leg.
Ball goes into Marsh, he tips those down the pitch and hits it over short fine leg. Pope was up inside the circle. That's gone for 4 as well, and it's 182 for 4. So already with 1 ball to go, this last over has gone for 14. Ball has gone for 40 again.
Yeah, but the Bison, Mitch Marsh, this is brilliant. It's great hitting. He's been given a lot of balls that in the arc, really, you'd say, in a good hitting zone for a man of his physique, and his backswing is fantastic. He's getting his arms through the ball. I wouldn't put it past him sticking this one in the stands to wrap up the innings.
Last ball of the innings, Ball bowls to Marsh. Marsh is deceived by a slower ball. He was trying to put it in the stands. He was trying to whack it out towards deep mid wicket. He was hit on the body. It's gone away for a leg bye to the offside. bit of relief for ball there at the end. He's gone for 43 from his 4 overs. It's 183 for 4. The Perth Scorchers. Marsh with 57 from 27 balls has given them the hurry up. They really needed it as well after that slowish start. Monroe made 50 off 34 balls, but Roy got stuck in a bog. 27 from 30. You can see his frustration out there. Livingston 16 from 13. Inglis made 20, but it was Marsh who's got them up to that 183 for 4. But it's a decent enough pitch. We've said that from the start. Often the games at the Optus Stadium, the Perth Stadium, have been more high scoring than on some of the other grounds. So it's not done and dusted as far as the Sixers are concerned. At top of the table, they've got plenty of confidence. So they need, the Sixers, 72 for 1 point. And for a further 3 points, they need 184. Which team's position would you prefer to be in at the moment now? Presumably the Perth Scorchers.
Yeah, I'd be happy. Yeah, I'd be happy with being the Scorchers. Anything under that 180, I think I would have been probably more sitting in the Sixers camp. But I think that's a good flurry, a good finish at the end by Mitchell Marsh, and a good score over 180. You know, momentum, whether you believe in the word momentum, but you do take a bit of confidence into that mid-innings break. So I think the Scorchers will be happy. The crowd has come in, actually. There's a good crowd in now.
Yeah.
Start of the game, there wasn't a lot of empty seats. I know it's a big stadium.
It's an early start. That's the problem. 4:10 to suit television on the east side of the country.
Yeah, but there's a good crowd in now, and you know the Perth fans, whether it be cricket or AFL, they're pretty parochial. They do get behind their side and let the opposition know. So they'll be hoping that the Perth Scorchers, hope the crowd will be their 12th man. Maybe their X factor, one never knows. But I think Sixers will be disappointed. I don't think they bowl very well. I think the pacemen really struggled. Spinners bowled nicely. Lloyd Pope did well, 2 overs, 2 for 13 as the X factor. And Stephen O'Keefe was excellent, 2 for 33 off his 4. But it's a good pitch, very, very good pitch for batting. So it should be a good chase.
Yeah, the X factor worked for the Sixers, but Mitch Marsh certainly worked out for the Scorchers with that rapid half century that's got them up to 183 for 4. So the Sixers innings in around about 10 minutes time. But before then, we're going to head back to 2017 when England beat the West Indies in 3 days at Edgbaston, and the guest in the commentary box was one of the most recognisable faces on British television, Richard Osman. With the floodlights shining at Edgbaston, he sat down to tell Jonathan Agnew about his love of cricket.
I'm a watcher and a studier, I'd say. I've got very bad eyesight. You know, I can't drive, I can't see. You know, I can never see a ball when cricket's going on, so I can't play it. You know, I tried to bowl a bit, but I can't. I just can't see the ball, so there's no point me ever playing. But I've always loved it. I love watching. You know, I love just kind of hearing it, and you know, I love the TMS and you know the atmosphere of the thing. But yeah, I can't tell a straight ball from a googly I can't tell any of the nuance. Never have been able to.
That'll surprise a lot of people, I think, who see you on the telly every day.
Well, I think it's one of those things. Is I do have vision. I'm not but I'm visually impaired, and I don't see things at speed. I don't see small things. I can't do it at all. But as anyone who's listening who's visually impaired, I know that plenty who are. You do compensate. I can. There's things I can see, and my brain fills in a lot of the rest. And then it's voices. People sometimes say, "Oh, I like to see sport without the commentary," and you think, "Oh, I can't do sport without the commentary. Sometimes I need the commentator to tell me what just happened because I don't always see it."
No. So what enjoyment do you get then from watching a sport? Do you find it hard to see?
I think with something like cricket, as I say, what I'm not seeing is the nuance. I'm not seeing some sort of beautiful sort of turn of the wrist of a bowler. I'm not seeing the ball turn, all that kind of stuff. But what I like are the personalities and the stories. That's what I've always liked. So in this test, for example, I am interested in this young West Indian team and what happens when you're put under this sort of pressure. And they've come over to England and they're going to have 3 tests of this, and what happens to them as men. I think that's interesting. Yeah. I am interested in who is going to be Alistair Cook's opening partner. Are they going to find someone? What happened to Hamid, for example, which I want to ask you about in a bit. I love the soap opera of it. That's what I like. And this is my favourite England team for a really long time, and it's because of the people. And I like the personalities. I like Stokes. I like Moeen. Yes. I like Joe Root as a captain. I like Johnny Bairstow. I think it's a really, really interesting team. But I like the stories. I like the soap opera of a sport, and everything else to me is just everything else is a storyline.
Yes,
that's what I like.
Digging beneath the surface, really, and getting really under the skin of it.
It's like if you love music but you don't play music, you still enjoy it.
Yes.
You know, I can't really tell if someone's playing the guitar well, but I know I like a song. And I'm like that with sport. You know, I like the stories. You know, I like what's going on beneath, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
But, you know, who is going to be Alistair Cook's opening partner? One day someone will come along who'll become a star. You know, and I love seeing that. And when you get a certain age, you see so many promising careers start, and you see that only a few of them really bear fruit. So you remember Joe Root starting.
Of course.
And you're thinking, oh, maybe we've got a player here. But we think that about everyone.
Yes.
But, you know, he does become a player. And even Alistair Cook, when he's starting, you think, oh, maybe we've got one. And now, you know, he's sort of part of our natural, you know, our national life. And you think, well, is that going to be Wesley? Is that going to be Jennings? You know, but who knows? Who knows? And you know, that's what I love.
So I would imagine, and I'm guessing a bit, Richard, but are you a big Test match fan? I mean, do you like, you know, your sort of analysis of the game with Test cricket? Obviously, there's endless material there, but I mean, do you like the one-day game as well?
You know, I prefer the one-day game in a funny kind of way. I like the one-day game because it's more happens quicker,
right?
You know, and I like that, and we get to the result quicker. You know, I'm a TV format.
This is your reality TV side coming out.
But it is
yes.
really, you know,
yeah.
that's been my job forever. Is you think of a format and you make it half an hour long, and you have a beginning, a middle, and then somebody wins at the end.
Yes.
You know, so for me, you know, I'd do 10-10 cricket. It wouldn't worry me. You know, just get it done and do it 3 times. To be honest, I love all forms of the game. I do love Test cricket because, you know, I love the rhythm of it and the mood of it, and, you know, the TMS thing of just, okay, we're going to sit down. This is what we're doing today. You know, that's
take
lovely.
hours, but we'll
exactly.
We're your company for the day.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I love 2020 because it brings other people into the game, and I do think it's an entry drug. You know, I really do. I think if you've watched,
I think it'll work.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, I think it's in football. I support a team. And international football, I'm not fussed about. But Test cricket, I love. You know, I love watching England, and I love supporting England. You know, and in terms of county cricket, because I'm a Sussex boy, and I used to go to Sussex all the time.
Well, I love it to sit and watch cricket there.
Oh my God, it's just great down at the county ground. It's an absolute joy. But because I live in London and have done for many years, I just don't get the chance to go down there. So I've sort of fallen out with county cricket a little bit. So Test cricket is where I get my cricket fix these days. Yes. And I suspect if Sussex, you know, won the title again, you know, so I got briefly interested about 10 years ago. Yeah, I would love to move back down to Hove, you know, get one of those nice little villas by the county ground and spend my days there.
Perfect. But with your television head on, though, I mean, what could you do with cricket, do you think? Because we're searching, obviously, for audiences and, you know, to make the game more appealing. Can the game do anything else to help itself, do you think? I mean, it's shortening its format, it's trying to play at night. Is there anything that you think you grab people?
I honestly, because I think about other sports a lot, and I think there's various sports that really need to get their games in order. I think 2020 is one of the few kind of sporting things that actually works beautifully, and I think once we get this city-based version of it, I think it's going to really, really work. I think people are going to like that. But, you know, if you're working in TV, you need something that takes a certain amount of time. That's what you need. If you're running Sky Sports, you're running BBC or something, you need something that's 2 hours long, 3 hours long, that you can schedule and you can put in, because that's how television works. And whatever people think about TV dictating sport, it sort of has to. If you want to grow your game and make money in your game, TV has to, because that's where the money comes from. So you sort of have to take that. And if you want Test cricket to grow, I think you need to bring more people in. I think 2020 is really beautifully done. I like the way they do it. You know, I like going to see it live. I like watching it on television. You know, the one thing to improve cricket in this country is the weather, and there's nothing we're ever going to be able to do about it. But, you know, enough of watching things and they get rained off. You know, 1 in 3 games getting rained off, or going down to Duckworth Lewis. You know, it's not great, but there's nothing we can do about it. That's why it's so huge out in India and Pakistan, because they can do what they want with it.
Yes.
Because you know what, it's by and large you're gonna get the game played, and you can see the IPL. You know, they kind of yeah.
So we're right to keep cutting down to satisfy the demand of less attention span, or whatever it may be, rather than trying to encourage people. Hang on, actually, you know, it's actually rather more glorious to actually extend things a bit and, you know, enjoy the whole full flow of a Test match. You think cut, and just give them what they want?
Honestly, that's my opinion. I know it's not a popular opinion, but it is my opinion.
I know lots of people out there will agree with
it. And I think culturally, that's where we go in almost every area. You look at music. I was made to go to the Proms the other day for a podcast, and it's kind of fine, and it's all right. But you know what? Someone's written a 3-minute pop song, and that seems to work better for people. Now, if you get into music through pop songs, and then suddenly you hear Brahms, and you love it, you think, great, that's great. And it's the same with cricket, if you've got kids who can watch any sport they want, by the way, and they can play anything they want on Xbox or whatever they want to do,
yes.
If you show them a test match, very, very hard to sort of catch them, for them to work out what it is that you love. Because what you love is the fact that you sat around as a child bored out of your mind because we had nothing to do as children, because we grew up in the 70s, and
so watched this whole 5 days on telly.
There was nothing to do, and if you ever bunked off school, there was never anything on telly unless there was a test match.
Yes.
And if there's a test match, you think, brilliant, I'm going to do 3 hours of this and I've pretended to have a headache. Right, that's not going to happen anymore. That world doesn't exist anymore, which is, it's good and bad, but it doesn't exist anymore.
But how do we keep test cricket then?
Whereas,
away?
This is what I think. If you're a mum or dad and you're sitting watching the 2020 and your child comes into the room and there's a bit of music and suddenly someone's hitting a six or whatever it is, and they get to know the personalities and they get to know some of the players and they get to see Ben Stokes, and they might go, oh, I like this guy, I like Ben Stokes, and he's hitting the sixes. And then, you watch a few 2020s, watch it, and then suddenly this is on. And they're like, well, what's this now? And you go, oh, look, you won't like, no, this is not for you. It's 5 days long, you won't like it at all. No, what is it? No, you, honestly, this is not for you. So you don't have the attention span to watch this. You go, but that's Ben Stokes. Yeah, but he won't be hitting sixes like he normally does, so just leave it. And you know what? They'll be looking over your shoulder, and 5 minutes later, suddenly they're sitting down on the sofa and they're saying, "Oh,
it's a bit of reverse psychology.
I might have a little bit of a cup of tea,"
right.
Because cricket is cricket. Cricket is about someone bowling to someone and them trying to hit it as hard as they can.
Yes,
that's all cricket is. And you have to distill that down for people to see the beauty of it, and then they will find out for themselves.
Well, there we have it. Very exciting chat for you, and a very exciting game in progress in Perth, with the Perth Scorchers setting an outstanding 183 for 4 to the Sixers, who put them in to bat a little bit earlier as well. It's largely down to a stunning nod towards the tail end of that innings from Mitchell Marsh. 57 from 27 deliveries, completely turned the perception of that innings. It was looking like they were going to struggle their way to 150, 160, but 183 for 4 was an excellent score, and it's going to take some chasing by the top-ranked side in the Big Bash, the Sydney Sixers. My name is Atif Nawaz, alongside me, Niall O'Brien. And Niall, look, they'll be absolutely thrilled, Perth, with the way they finished that innings, surely.
Yeah, they'll be delighted. 183 for 4. We've mentioned it many times. It's a really good pitch. Yeah, it looks very good for batting. Boundaries are pretty big in most grounds in Australia, but at the Optus Stadium in Perth, it's a pretty big boundary, but you do get good value whether you're going downtown or, in fact, hitting along the carpet. So, although 183 for 4 is a really good total, and the Scorchers will be very happy at the mid-innings break, Adam Voges will be relaying the information to his bowlers. Right, we've got to work really hard here, because this is probably just above par, I'd say. I think Sydney Sixers, who weren't the best actually with the ball, truth be told, don't think they bowled overly well. They've got plenty of power, plenty of ability with the bat, so they'll fancy their chances. And their side playing with a lot of confidence, so we should be in for a really good game, actually. Should be a cracker of a run chase.
Absolutely. 76 runs off the last 5 overs, which was the point where the Perth Scorchers called for the power surge, and it's sort of one of those few times we've seen the power surge really serve as that kind of base, that momentum base to kick off an acceleration. 83 for 4, as you say, Niall. It's going to be a tough chase, but there's one side that can do it. It's the Sydney Sixers, a very, very strong batting lineup to come from them as well, not least from Josh Felipe, who's going to open the batting, the wicket-keeping batsman, who's currently the second top scorer in this edition of the Big Bash. Just been so exciting to watch. One of those real box office talents of this league. Will be coming out shortly to kick things off for the Sydney Sixers. It'll be a nice challenge for them as well, you imagine. At this point, sitting pretty with 21 points at the top of the league, they can use that challenge. It's not the worst time in the world to have your backbone tested.
Yeah, as I said before, they're playing with a lot of confidence, so there's no reason why they won't be walking out of bat here expecting to chase this score down. Yeah, a lot of pressure on the Scorchers, really, because they've played some poor cricket, but all of a sudden they've got a total on the board that 20-odd thousand in the stand, and thinking, right, you should defend this. So all of a sudden there's even more pressure on the Scorchers, and they are desperate for a win. So I think it's going to be a really good run chase. As I mentioned, it's a really good pitch. Didn't offer a great deal for the seamers. There was a little bit of swing early for Jack Sabur, but after that all the seamers really got peppered. It was the spinners that actually halted any kind of progress. Stephen O'Keefe bowled well, picking up 2 for 33, and Lloyd Pope, who was the X factor, brought in the mid-innings, picking up 2 for 13 after being hit into the stands with his first ball of his spell. So that was a good effort for the leg spinner. But if you see how Perth go about it and their tactics, there wasn't a great deal of slower balls used by the Sydney Sixers bowlers apart from Dan Christian. There was a lot of pace on. So whether they can use that experience, Perth, and take a bit of pace off the ball.
Without a doubt, they did rather well towards the end there as well. As we say, Mitchell Marsh with that 57. Colin Munro as well with an excellent knock. 50 runs, he got 34 deliveries. The bowlers, a bit of a mixed bag. We did think it was unusual to see a leg spinner come in to replace a left-arm seamer, but it seemed to pay dividends there with the Sydney Sixers reading the pitch quite well, deciding to bring in Lloyd Pope, 2 for 13 from 2 overs. Excellent return in the end for the X Factor, so changed the course of that innings for the time being. Well, the second innings of this match is about to kick off at Perth Stadium, and it's going to be Richardson who comes into bowl, and he angles one onto the pads of Philippe, who flicks the ball to deep backward square leg for a single. Sydney Sixers off the mark, off their first delivery, 0 for 1, 1 for 0 if you're English. 184 to win off 20 overs. It'll be a very exciting chase.
Yeah, Jai Richardson's a good bowler. Can swing the ball. He's got good pace. He normally operates around 145. That's touching 90 mile an hour and old money. Good aggressive bowlers. A good campaign so far. Picked up 10 wickets for the Scorchers.
Jack Edwards now on strike as in comes Richardson, who just beats the inside edge, cuts the batsman in half as it goes through to the keeper for no run. Excellent bowling there at good pace too, 145 kilometres per hour. Really ramping it up is Jai Richardson.
Well, that's a beauty. Just nips it back through the gate, really. Good pace and a good line and length. Sometimes at the Wacker and at Perth Stadium you can bowl a little bit short because you can get carried away, but often watching test match cricket, especially for a long time, Perth, you've got to pitch the ball up. You've got to try and bring the batsman forward.
Jai Richardson hitting that good length already, and he comes once again, just back of a length this time, pushed through the covers this time. Edwards will run through for 1, he'll go back for 2, and that's what he will. They'll come back for a third. They wanted a third, but in the end they turned back. And that's probably the wise move there. Edwards off the mark with 2, 3 of 3 deliveries so far. He's bang on the money at the moment, is Jai Richardson.
It was a good shot. Jack Edwards, a manly boy, on his tippy toe, just punching off the back foot. Very tall, big man, 6'2", 6'3", you would think. Nicely on top of that, just punching it through extra.
Jai Richardson in once again. This time the ball's been flicked to the short fine leg fielder. No run taken. Ball to his field there. 4 balls gone in this first over. And we see the shadows falling across Perth Stadium, actually literally across the pitch at the moment. It can't be easy for batsmen. I mean, how much is that shadow going to be affecting the batsman at the striker's end?
No, I don't think so. You know, you're so transfixed on watching that ball. I don't think it's going to play in the mind a great deal. 2 slips in place though. Richardson's got to pitch the ball up, got to bring the batsman forward here.
In comes Richardson once again, this time inducing that drive there. Edwards playing a long way away from his body, missing the ball as it went through to the keeper for no run. Another play and a miss there. That's Richardson looking very impressive. 5 deliveries gone in the first over, 3 for no loss. Just holding its line away from the batsman. Edwards struggling to get those feet going.
Well, a little bit of swing, good pace and good carry, flying through to the keeper, catching it well above his head. What was a telltale sign in Perth. Richardson into Edwards. He bowls, and this time the ball's been pushed into the onside for a single. So Edwards will retain the strike. He's moved on to 3 from 5 deliveries. And the Sydney Sixers, after 1 over in their reply, are 4 for no loss. They require a further 180 runs to win off 114 deliveries. Just under 9.5 runs and over. That won't bother them too much at this point. An excellent batting side, but it's not going to be easy here, is it, Niall? No, it won't be easy, but it should be a good contest, you feel, between bat and ball throughout this innings. If the Sixers are going to get over the line, I don't think it's going to be an easy chase. I don't think they'll be able to romp home. At the same time, I think the Scorchers, if they're going to win this, they're going to have to work really, really hard. But they've got plenty of capable bowlers to defend this total. Jai Richardson bowled good, tidy first over, and Well, Jason Behrendorff, big tall left armour, Australian international, quality cricketer, really good record in the BBL.
It's an outstanding average of just over 20 as in comes Behrendorff and starts back of a leg delivery pushed into the onside. There's a shy at the non-striker's end. It would have been close had it connected, but in the end they get through for a single. So 5 for no loss after 1.1 overs. And absolutely, as you say, Jai Richardson making an excellent start there for the Perth Scorchers. But it is a very, very strong batting lineup as well for the Sydney Sixers. They'll back themselves to chase this down in favourable conditions, as we keep saying. Behrendorff in. Back of a length, it's been pulled by Philippe, backward of square leg, it's raced away to the boundary. The first 4 of the Sydney Sixers innings, and Philippe picking up where he left off in the previous game. He's moved on to 5 from 2 deliveries, 9 for no loss after 1.2.
Well, it's quality batting, and it's showing a lot of experience from a fairly inexperienced player, been around a couple of years now, and as you mentioned earlier, has made an outing in the IPL, but he knows Behrendorff's going to probably ball back of a length, and he's short in stature, so that wicketkeeper batsman just stays still, stays a little bit deep in the crease and shovels the leg side. It's really good batting.
In comes Behrendorff once again, strikes the batsman on the pad. There's a big appeal for LBW, but it was going a long way down leg side, hence nobody's too interested, least of all the umpire. A dot ball though, that's valuable for the Perth Scorchers, 9 for no loss. Don't forget there is that game within the game of the Bash Boost point. 72 runs required for the Sydney Sixers to get that one as well. 72 after 10 would put them, you'd imagine, a little bit behind the run rate, the asking rate at that point. Short this time and pulled, but only as far as the short mid-wicket fielder. Another dot ball from Behrendorff, building some pressure here. 1.4 overs gone, 9 for no loss.
Well, the margin for error for the seam bowlers especially is very, very small on such a good pitch here in Perth. So I don't think Sixers need to get too carried away. Yeah, they want to get that Bash Boost point at the mid-innings, but I don't think it's the be-all and end-all. They don't have to be 80 or 90 off 10. Just keep plenty of wickets in hand. Very hard to defend if you've got wickets in hand, as we saw when Mitchell Marsh was smashing the ball all over the park, the back end of the Scorchers innings. Something I reckon if you can be around at 75 to 85 with only 2 or 3 wickets down, the Sixers will be in pretty good position.
Behrendorff in once again, wide outside the off stump, left alone by Philippe. I'm probably doing him a bit of a disservice.
You're being very kind saying left alone.
He played it, missed it. Let's put it that way. He played it, missed it as he followed it, a ball going across him through to the keeper, and there is no run. Behrendorff showing all of his class at the moment, making it very difficult for the batsman to get on top of him. We just saw that one pull shot from Philippe at the top of the over, but other than that, it's been very difficult to get away.
Yeah, a good campaign at Lords against England not so long ago in the World Cup.
Behrendorff, the ball takes it outside edge, has been caught at first slip, and Behrendorff has his reward for some excellent bowling. Josh Philippe looking to work that into the onside, gets a leading edge, and it's been caught at first slip. The first wicket has fallen for the Sydney Sixers. It's 9 for 1 after 2. A perfect start for the Perth Scorchers.
Wow, it's a nice ball. Going leg side, he's going against the angle of the ball, really. There's no swing. Behrendorff just tails it across, very similar to the previous ball, and the homecoming for the prodigy. It's not going to be a happy one for the day. Philippe's got to go for 5. It's too brief back in Perth where he's born and bred, but he's got to go. That's a big, big wicket for the Scorchers, and you fancy the home crowd now going to get up and about.
Josh Philippe's at the top of the innings. It's been a huge part of the Sydney Sixers' success in this year's Big Bash, and some excellent knocks we've seen from him. He's at 95, which was quite something. Oftentimes when he fires at the top, it takes a lot of pressure off the batsman underneath him, and this will be a different kind of test for the Sydney Sixers. Not often have they lost their first wicket so quickly, that to their influential opening wicket-keeping batsman. Philippe gone for 5. Behrendorff with the breakthrough, and now James Vince is at the crease. He's got a very healthy strike rate of 130 in this form of the game. He's going to have to show some of that class today. 175 more runs required of 108 balls. And Jai Richardson is at the top of his run. His first over only went for 4 runs. What can he do here with Edwards on strike? In comes Richardson. He bowls full. It's been driven past the diving fielder. In fact, there's an excellent stop the diving fielder at mid-on, and they take a single. So the score moves on to 10, into double figures, the Sydney Sixers.
Yeah, Jack Edwards now, a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. James Vince, though, good cricketer and decent touch. Always seems to be in decent touch. You speak about Jason Roy looking totally out of touch. I don't think anyone's ever said James Vince has looked out of nick in 10 or 15 years of a professional career, but it's that meaningful innings, that match-winning innings that we're always looking for from James Vince.
In comes Richardson now once again, back of a length. It's been pushed to the point fielder for no run. The fielders really backing their bowlers at the moment, trying to build some pressure, build some momentum here. 10 for 1 after 2.2. Scoring not quite easy for the Sydney Sixers.
Doesn't seem that long ago that James Vince was playing beautifully up at the Gabba in the Ashes, and he took that ill-fated single to Nathan Lyon. A backward pointer was run out, and from there, well, at the international level, it's gone horribly wrong for James Vince when it looked like he was going the right way.
Richardson in once again, the ball teasing the outside edge as it goes through to the keeper for no run. James Vince didn't know too much about that one from Jai Richardson, who's been bang on the money today on that length every single time. 10 for 1 after 2.3, and the Perth Scorchers very much on top here at the moment, it has to be said.
Well, in power play, when there were 6 overs of power play in T20 cricket, if you got 3 wickets, you won about 76% of your matches, so you won a high percentage of games.
Richardson in once again, the ball takes an outside edge and it's been caught by the keeper. He walks, he's gone. James Vince has been dismissed for 0 of 3 deliveries. A second wicket falls for the Sydney Sixers, and they are in all manner of disarray. The Perth Scorchers well and truly on top here, with the Sixers 10 for 2. Another 174 required off 104. Now, James Vince is just hanging about for a second. I don't know why. They're probably just going to have a little look at the front foot of the bowler. There didn't seem to be anything to the naked eye. We're just going to take a little look now, and yeah, there's plenty of heel behind that front line. So I'm afraid Vince is going to have to keep walking. Another wicket falls, and Jai Richardson rewarded for some excellent bowling.
Well, it's a carbon copy of the ball before. The previous ball was exactly the same ball, same speed, bang on, line and length, about that 4th stump, 5th stump line, and James Vince played and missed. Didn't learn from his mistake, and he does exactly the same thing next time around. Feathers it through. It's a really poor dismissal. It's a soft dismissal, and when you look back in the T20 innings, you think, I might as well just throw in the kitchen sink at it, because that is an absolutely nothing shot. James Vince will be really, really disappointed, and well, for the Sixers, that's 2 big wickets lost. Really, really fantastic from the Perth Scorchers. As I said, they took a lot of momentum in after Mitchell Marsh's brilliant knock at the back end of the Scorchers innings, and they've come out pumped. They've come out firing here, and actually Sydney Sixers, as they did with the ball, they look a little off with the bat here.
Yes, they've been bowling a very attacking length. Both Richardson and Behrendorff, and both have been rewarded with a wicket each. Daniel Hughes, the new batsman for the Sixers, and he'll have 2 deliveries to negotiate from Jai Richardson, bowling so well, hitting that length beautifully. 1.4 overs, 1 for 5. And he's been very much on top, and he's got a best of 96 in the BBL. Daniel Hughes is very more than decent batsman, but right now there's a lot of pressure on at the Perth Stadium. A hometown crowd cheering on their team. They need this win. They want these points. Can they get them? Richardson into Hughes, just gets firmly behind that delivery, pushes into the onside for no run, and oftentimes that's what you need, really, just to stifle out that pressure, is it not?
Well, Daniel Hughes is used to playing the new ball. He's batted at the top of the order a lot in first-class cricket, so he's not going to be fazed by a ball of pace and a bit of shape. But James Vince, it's that old adage, caught behind, no feet, tentative footwork, prodding at the ball. It's been the downfall at international level all through his career, and again today.
Jai Richardson now turning him once more into his run. He bowls full. It's been driven through the gap in the covers by Hughes. That's racing away towards the boundary. Really got a nice contact on that, and the ball does indeed reach the boundary. Welcome runs for the Sydney Sixers and for Hughes. He's off the mark with 4. After 3 overs, the Sydney Sixers are 14 for 2. And still a long way off where the Scorchers were at this point. They were 22 for no loss, and as you were just about to say earlier, just before that second wicket fell, Niall, 2/3 wickets falling in the power play. Well, in a power play we say 3 wickets falling, but in the abridged power play that we have in the Big Bash, 2 from 4 overs is not a bad result.
I think it's a really good result. As I mentioned, if you get 3 in a power play, you win a huge percentage of games. I think it's over 70% of the games. So obviously this is slightly new terrain for us, 4 over of a power play. So I think if you pick up 2, you're going to go a long way to winning the game. But so far today, the wickets that have fallen, it's not necessarily been through fantastic bowling. A lot of it's been fairly tentative batting.
In comes Behrendorff now again, giving the batsman no room. Edwards just pushing to backward point for no run, as that required run rate has just gone over 10 already in the 4th over of this innings. 170 required off 101. Behrendorff and Richardson just completely consistent in the way that they're keeping to hitting that good length, staying on that good length, relentless in their approach. As Behrendorff in once again, back of a leg this time, and just straying onto a leg stump line. It's been flicked away into the leg side by Edwards. There is protection in the deep, so they'll take just the single. The score moves on to 15 for 2 after 3.2 overs. Yeah,
being relentless actually, to be fair, for the Scorchers. They've just bowled good pace. They've banged a good line of length. They have got a little bit of shape with the new Kookaburra ball. Richardson swung it away from the right-handers, and Behrendorff's got a little bit of tail back in. Actually, the first wicket, Felipe's wicket, the ball was just angled across, so that took the outside edge, but generally there has been a little bit of shape. They've just been very disciplined, and that's what you expect from Perth Scorchers for the last kind of 5 or 6 years. Good disciplined bowling with the new ball.
Behrendorff in once again, this time straying onto the pads of Hughes, who flicks that into the leg side. Again, there is protection at deep backward square leg, so single taken. Take these singles right now. Well, the Sydney Sixers just looking to rebuild a little bit. 16 for 2 after 3.3 overs.
Well, it might be a day for where the Sixers can't rely on their top order, and it's going to have to be the middle order and the ladder order. Carlos Brathwaite, I spoke about him earlier. He's got to step up with the bat. He's the overseas player. He's generally being a bowler this tournament. In the last couple of years, he's generally been picked as a bowler.
In comes Behrendorff again. This time the ball's been smashed down the ground, just over the ducking non-striker, and it's a short boundary straight down the ground. It races away for 4 runs. Edwards into double figures. He's got 10 now from his 10 deliveries. Sydney Sixers 20 for 2. This pair will be looking to get some runs. There is still plenty of batting to come, as you say, with Jordan Silk, Dan Christian to come ahead of Carlos Brathwaite.
Well, that was a good hit. Jack Edwards is too full. Behrendorff maybe just looking for a little bit of too much shape. Ends up being a bit of a half volley. Puts it away nicely.
Behrendorff in once again, this time wide outside the off stump. It's been smashed down the ground. It was a half volley. It's racing away all the way along the ground, dead straight for another boundary for Edwards. Nicely in his area there. Sydney Sixers move on to 24 for 2 of 3.5 overs.
Well, carbon copy again. Behrendorff looking for a bit of swing and just pumped it straight down the ground. Jack Edwards, as I mentioned, he's very tall, got long levers, so if you over pitch, he's going to be able to punish you down the ground. That's a good shot. A lot of conviction all the way along the carpet here at the Optus Stadium.
Behrendorff in once again, this time a better length, just tucked into the leg side by Edwards, and they take a single. So better over that for the Sydney Sixers, and the score for them moves on to 25 for 2 after 4 overs. Remember, they require a further 159 runs off 96 balls to win this match. They need to get to 72 off 10 overs to get the Bash boost point. So lots in play here for the top ranked side in this year's Big Bash League. 25 for 2. Not quite the ideal start, having lost to some of the better batsmen up top. And now we're going to see spin for the first time in the Sydney Sixers innings. The Perth Scorchers turning to Fawad Ahmed, who's had a mixed bag of a tournament so far. There's been moments where he's been mighty effective and slowed things down, but he's also been taken apart by some batting attacks.
Yeah, a lot of experience though, so he won't let previous encounters or previous performances affect his game today. 72 games under his belt. The economy is excellent, under 7. Fantastic for a wrist spinner, fantastic for any bowler actually, but a wrist spinner even more so impressive.
Fawad Ahmed in now, and he gives the first one plenty of flight, turns it into a low full toss, in fact, driven out to a wideish set long off fielder. Batsmen take a single. 26 for 2 on 4.1.
He's got a nice googly, so he might just try and set Edwards up, try and do him through the gate. He's got a left-hander, Daniel Hughes, on strike. Daniel Hughes does like pace on the ball, especially early in his innings. As I mentioned, he's been an opening batsman for a long part of his career in the longer form of the game, so Daniel Hughes does like pace on the ball, and often when you like pace on the ball early, sometimes you can chew up a few dot balls against spinners, so that's what Scorchers will hope for.
Fuad Ahmed in once again, just back of a length this time, turned into the onside for an agreed single. A nice aggressive change as well, bringing Fuad Ahmed in.
I like the bowling change, but as a batsman, I'm just thinking as a left-handed batsman facing a leg spinner, and there's not one man saving a single on the leg side apart from the man at 45. So as a batsman, you can get across your stumps. You've almost got a dink leg side and get out of jail. I'd like to see a mid-wicket in there, just trying to block that off.
Ahmed in once more, short this time and cut, but an excellent diving stop at point prevents anything more than the single. And, he's bowling to his fielder, Fuad Ahmed. He's not giving too much room in those vacant areas. We'll see again now when he gets another go at Hughes. Coming out run-up ball so far, but just coming in after that onslaught from Berendorf and Jai Richardson. A lot of pressure on Fuad Ahmed. Again on the leg stump of the Hughes, who works that away into square leg. They take the first one quickly and they make it back for two. That was inexplicable. There were two fielders over the ball. There were never 2 runs there. That's unbelievable running. And dare say a bit of lethargy from the Perth Scorchers. Either way, 2 runs taken, 30 for 2 after 4.4 overs.
Well, it was nicely weighted by Daniel Hughes. Just dinked it to the 30-yard circle.
Ahmed in once again, this time beats the batsman, strikes him on the pads. It's going over the top, but just a little bit of a top spinner there from Fuad Ahmed. No run.
Yeah, he pushed it through a little bit quicker. 96 Ks as opposed to a stock ball, so just pushed it through a little bit quicker.
In comes Fuad Ahmed once again, this time back of a length, and again defended on the front foot by Hughes. So good start there, a little bit quicker as well from Fuad Ahmed. Good start there for him. 5 runs off his first over. 5 overs gone in the Sydney Sixers innings. 30 for 2. It's been a seesaw start from them, having lost both their opening batsmen. But a long way to go in this game. After a few thoughts from Niall O'Brien, I'll make way for Simon Mann.
Yeah, the current run rate is 6. Required rate's already over 10. So I think Scorchers have done a really good job. They've picked up 2 wickets and they've also curtailed the run rate. Sixers are going to have a lot of work to do, losing a couple of key batsmen up front. James Vincent, well, his dismissal was very disappointing, very tame dismissal really, and nothing kind of stroke. Jack Edwards, well, he's found a little bit of touch. He's been given a few freebies which he's pumped down the ground for boundaries. Daniel Hughes has been busy as he always is, the left-hander. Left hand, right hand, often a good combination for any side, especially in the middle overs against spin. So it'll be interesting how that goes, but Perth have been very good.
And they're well placed to make it 3 wins out of 3 in the last 2 games, thrashing the Renegades on this ground a couple of days ago. Here is a new over, and Edwards gives himself some room and hits this high into the offside, and it lands in no man's land. Berendorf is after it, sends in the return, collected by the new bowler Aaron Hardy, and they're back for 2 runs. I've never seen Jack Edwards score any runs. He's 19 of 15 balls today. His highest score in the Big Bash is 47. His strike rate is about 100, and he averages 12. So going
he's due then.
Yeah, well, he's only a youngster though. He's 20 years of age, one of the young players in the Sixers side. Here's Hardy going into bowl to him, and Edwards runs this down towards 3rd man, and he gets a single. It takes him to 20. So a promising start from him today. He really needs something substantial here if they're to get up to the 184 they need for victory. 33 for 2 in the 6th over. I've seen so far in this Big Bash competition, it's unwise to write games off too early. We've seen some remarkable transformations of matches. Hughes is there on 8. Atif was mentioning his highest score in Big Bash, 96, and it came earlier in the season in an incredible 1-wicket victory for the Sixers in the game of the competition so far. And they were chasing something similar against the Stars. Hardy goes in, bowls the left-handed Hughes, and that's right on target. And Hughes is quite an orthodox player for most of the time. Plays an orthodox defensive shot, pushes it into the offside.
He's a good player, Daniel Hughes. Been around quite a long time actually. Plays well leg side, as a lot of left-handers do. Picks the pull shot nicely, but can go over the extra cover region, so he's quite adept against pace, both offside and leg side.
Hardy bowls to Hughes, and Hughes is into line there and plays it into the offside shut. The stump to non-strikers end. That might have been out if it hit. It didn't. So Hughes took a risk. Got through for the single. Hughes to 9. He's a nice orthodox offside player. He drives the ball well through the offside. Hughes. I think he'd almost given up there.
Yeah, that's gone. I think you realise one of those, as soon as you call yes and you start running, you know you're in trouble. You're just hoping that the fielder just either fumbles or misses the stumps because you know you're gone.
Hardy bowls to Edwards. Edwards moves to the offside and clips it into the leg side. Out towards deep mid-wicket. It's only a single.
You won't be surprised to know that Edwards is I presume you've spent a lot of time in Sydney in your career, but he's a manly boy with those blonde flowing locks, probably commonly seen on a surfboard out of Manly Beach.
I think when you get the ferry across, there's a place where you can dye your hair blonde just as you get off the ferry, so you feel at home there. Here's Hardy bowling, lifted away by Edwards into the onside towards deep mid-wicket. It's bobbling out towards the rope. Fielder runs around, can't get there. That's gone away for 4. Well, it wasn't perfectly timed, and it wasn't particularly elegant from Edwards, but it was mighty effective. And it brings him another 4. And we've had 6 overs. And the score goes to 39 for 2. Apologies, it was Hughes with the... That was Edwards with the strike.
Hughes, yeah, he just lifts it over leg side.
They've got their scoring wrong on the television, I think, there.
It's a good shot. It was a bit ungainly, but it was a calculated risk. You think Hardy was going to pitch up, so he just lofts it, shovels it almost leg side. Got a good reward, Daniel Hughes.
I think they've given the runs... 39 for 2 after 6 overs, just sort out the individuals. Hughes is 13, Edwards is 21. Edwards on strike. And Andrew ties into the attack for the first time. He bowls to Edwards and goes past the outside edge. First ball through to wicketkeeper Inglis. He's taken 1 catch so far. I think you described that as a nothing shot, wouldn't you, from Edwards?
It was exactly like James Vince's dismissal. Same kit as well, same bats. Could have been carbon copy. AJ Tye been around a long time. Master of 8 slower balls he has up his armoury, apparently.
So he says. Tye to Edwards. Edwards seems to be discomfited there by a short ball, misjudging the length. He ends up pushing it, shoveling it into the leg side, protecting his body. I think he was going to duck to start with, missed the flight of the ball, and then realised it was there to play. Somehow managed to get it away into the leg side for a single.
Well, I just wonder, is that either discomfort from the batsman, or is that something to do with the shadows? But the shadows nearly the whole pitch now, so I think maybe Edwards just not quite fancying that short ball.
We're in that in-between light now, though, aren't we? The sun is dipping, and it's mainly shadow out there. There's a little bit of sunshine peeping through as well. Hughes on 13, Edwards on 22, 40 for 2, 184 to win for the Sixers. Tye bowls round the wicket, helped on its way by Hughes into the leg side towards deep square, and they're through for a single. Hughes to 14.
Been around a while now, AJ Tye, and he's had a couple of mega auctions in the IPL. He's picked up huge money in the IPL for 2 or 3 years. We're talking $600,000-700,000 US for a player that's kind of been in and out of the oil. He played a bit of international cricket, but generally just being a state bowler. So it's just one of those, all these skills, you do well at the right time, you can really cash in.
Tye goes in, bowls to Edwards. Edwards drives into the offside. He miscued this into a fielder's hands. No, it's short of deep cover, and he comes back for 2. He's one of those bowlers. He was really flavour of the month for a while, wasn't he? Wanted by everybody. He's had injuries as well. That's set him back. Of course it has, of late. He didn't play in the Big Bash for a long time because of injury, but he feels as though he's not quite the flavour of the month he was, but he's trying to fight back from injury. Tye goes in, bowls to Edwards. Edwards pulls it off the glove, or it's a drop catch by Inglis, the wicketkeeper, diving away to his left-hand side. He ran through for a single. Pretty sure this has come off the glove.
Well, I've never seen this. In my career, I never saw this. Bowler bowls a good bumper, gloves the batsman, keeper drops the catch. They should take it. Keeper should catch, and the bowler applauds him. I never got applauded for that when I dropped. I dropped plenty of catches, let me tell you. I never got the old good effort, mate. You should have caught that.
He got a glove to it, and then it came out. Hughes on strike. Ty goes in and bowls to Hughes, and Hughes is caught the backward point. He was looking to force the ball away on the offside with an open face, straight out to backward point, and Jason Roy with the catch. And it's 44 for 3 after 7 overs, and the Scorchers have got a firm grip on this game. Sixers need 140 to win off the last 13 overs. They've lost 3 important players, they really have. Philippi at the top of the order. I think it was a big blow when they lost him early on. Vince out for naught, and then Hughes, the skipper, has gone as well. Scorchers well placed to make it 3 out of 3. Roy with a low catch.
Good catch, really good catch, because if you see where Jason Roy is fielding, he's a long way in from the 30-yard circle. He's about, I would say, 10 to 12 yards in from the edge of the ring, and often you see fielders getting beaten either side, and the ball whistles away from the boundary. But on the flip side, the positive side, you get closer, you get a chance for that low catch, and that was a really good catch. It was straight to him, Jason Roy, but it was only millimetres off the turf, so it's a good catch. It's a big wicket, because Daniel Hughes is the kind of player that he'll never take a game away from you, Daniel Hughes, but he can stick around long enough to get a team in a good position and set it up for an onslaught with the likes of Dan Christian and Jordan Silk and Carlos Brathwaite at the back end. So that was a really, really big dismissal for the Sixers, who were in all sorts of trouble there.
It's a long way off that 184 that they need. Does need someone to play a Marsh type innings. Mitch Marsh earlier, 57 not out, rapid 57 not out, completely turned the game around. Sixers had a grip. Roy was struggling, and then he came in, Marsh. Off the mark, first ball with a 4 here. He's into the attack now, bowls to Edwards. Edwards tries to turn into the leg side, can't do so. Gets it back to the bowler, who picks up, and there's no run. Perhaps this is your day, Jack Edwards. You've got in, you're 25 not out. 3 senior players have gone. Jordan Silk has just come to the crease. There is Christian and Brathwaite to come, but you need 72 for the 1 point, and you need 184 for further 3. Marsh bowls to Edwards. Edwards tries to force into the offside, hits it straight to extra cover. There's no run, strolls away from the crease. Pressure building here.
I'm sure Jack Edwards he's out there in the heat, 30 odd, and he's thinking, I'm going to prove Simon Mann wrong. I am going to show him how good a player I am. But interesting, the bash boost point. You know, which stage do you think when you're getting close? Right, do we go for it? Maybe risk a wicket or two and maybe curtail our chance of winning the match, or do you look at the bigger picture?
Marsh bowls to Edwards. Edwards turns it into the onside. Off quickly for the first. One of those that goes to the edge of the circle. He's coming back for the second. Throws on its way. And that was very good running. The throw's a bit wide. I think even if it had been accurate, they'd have got back there. It was well judged too.
You'd almost think Sydney Sixers, because they're in such a good position in the league, that they really should go for this bash boost point. Even if it derails them slightly in the wider context of winning the game outright. So I just wonder, and Jordan Silk is a busy batsman. He's not a huge hitter of the ball, especially early on. He likes to rotate the strike.
Marsh bowls to Edwards. Edwards hoiks that away into the offside, slicing stroke down towards third man. There's a shout and catch it. Berendorf came in, couldn't quite get onto it. Richardson rather down there on the third man boundary, couldn't quite get onto it. Edwards gets a run, 28 to him.
So I just wonder, was it an option or conversation in the sheds to maybe send Carlos Brathwaite, who hasn't really had much batting and a bit of a nothing to lose scenario, go out and give it a whack here and get us that bash boost point, and if you're still in, keep going. And we've still got Christian and Jordan Silk up our sleeve. I think the Sixers should really go for this bash boost point, even if it means maybe losing a wicket or two.
Well, they need 72 for the point. They're 47 for 3 after 7.4. They need to get there by the end of the 10th over. Yeah, is Marsh bowls to Silk. Silk goes up and over, down towards third man. He's caught down on the third man boundary. Marsh could do nothing wrong. He's got a wicket in his first over, and Silk is out first ball. Perhaps stumps. He was looking to step up the rate to try and take the bash boost point, and he's holed out to wide third man, and it's 47 for 4. And that 184 looks a million miles away now. So a well-judged catch by Jai Richardson down on the third man boundary. You'd expect him to catch it, he would expect himself to catch it, and he did. So Silk is on his way. It's a golden duck for Jordan Silk.
Yeah, it's just one of those days, I think, or one of those evenings for the Sixers. They weren't quite at their best with the ball, and got smacked around at the back end by Mitchell Marsh and Scorchers, and everything actually they've tried has gone against them with the bat. But I take nothing away from the Scorchers. I think they've been very disciplined with the ball, and they're getting a little bit of luck now. You know, Daniel Hughes slaps one through backward point, and Jason Roy takes a good catch, and then Jordan Silk, well, he gets a terrible ball really short and wide, and he should put it away for 4 or 6, but he finds a man at the third man boundary, and sometimes that's the way the game can fluctuate.
Dan Christiansen at number 6. I have to say, you look at the Perth Scorchers lineup, and at the start of the tournament, okay, they didn't have Roy, they didn't have Livingston, they were isolating into Australia. If you look at that lineup, I think it's a pretty strong lineup. Roy, Livingston, Inglis the wicketkeeper, Munro, dashing New Zealand player, you know, if it's his day he can do some damage. Marsh and Turner are 2 really strong players in the middle order for them. Here is Marsh moving into bowl to Edwards, the batsman crossed. Edwards is forward, playing into the offside. There is no run. It's 47 for 4 off 8 overs. Christian yet to score. Edwards on 28, and they need 25 on 2 overs to the bash boost point. Then Hardy, the all-rounder. Well, he's a youngster newcomer, but Jai Richardson, Andrew Tye, Jason Berendorf, that's a decent attack, and then Farwood Ahmed to bowl spin, and it's not a bad lineup. Yeah,
it's a good, very good bowling line. I think the batting, you know, when you take out maybe Livingston and Roy, is probably a little light, especially top of the order. You know, obviously Joe Clark went and had a wonderful campaign this year for Nottinghamshire, but it was always going to be a big ask him to make such a big impact on his first real overseas assignment. So I think the bowling was always going to be good. Yeah, the batting was going to struggle a little bit up front.
Here's Tye bowling to Edwards. Edwards can't manoeuvre that into the offside. He's straight back to the bowler. And there's no run. So you don't like their batting line.
I think it's light. You know, at the top of the order, especially without a Roy and without a Livingston at the start of the tournament.
Yeah.
I think this 11's a very good side. I really do. So I think
at the start of the tournament, I agree. Yeah.
If they can get a win here, Scorch, and get on a bit of a roll and get, you know, a couple more back-to-back wins, they'll be thereabouts again.
Tye moves in, bowls to Edwards. Edwards tries to swing it away, and he does. He gets it fine of the keeper away to his left-hand side, and that's down to the boundary for 4. And Edwards to 32. He's threatening his highest score in Big Bash, which is 47. Just a reminder, 5 teams will qualify, but if you're the 5th place team or the 4th place team, you then have to win 4 matches to win the competition. There's a lot more cricket to play, isn't it?
Long way.
We've got the eliminator, where 4th plays 5th. Here is Edwards on strike. Tye goes into Bolton. Edwards, what did he do there? How did he get that past his stumps? Off inside edge, I think it must have bounced over the stumps, and the keeper stepped forward to pick it up. And then whoever wins that plays the team that finished 3rd. Meanwhile, first and second team play against each other, and they play the team that finished 3rd later in the knockout stage. You're following this now, you're not, are you?
I'm absolutely gone.
Yeah, it'll become clearer as we get to the knockout stage, basically. But you need to win 4 matches if you end up 4th or 5th. Here is Tye bowling to Edwards. Edwards again plays an awkward pull shot to a short ball out towards deep mid wicket. Hardy sends in the return. The team that ends 3rd has to win 3 matches in the knockout stage, and if you finish 1st or 2nd, you have to win 2 matches, basically. So that there is a huge advantage, obviously, in finishing 1st or 2nd in the group table. But if you finish 5th, you just squeak in, but you've got a lot of work to do to win the competition.
Well, as Jim Carrey once said in a movie, Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had all that information, not me, because I would have definitely got myself a bit muddled up there.
Yeah, it's
best thing, just finish 1st.
Well, exactly. Finish 1st or 2nd, you're well on your way. basically have a semi-final. Here is Edwards on strike, Christian on strike rather, and he pulls it out towards long on, and he's caught. He's caught running back from mid-on, the man inside the circle, and that's another one. Christian goes, Ty takes his second wicket, 52 for 5, coming to the end of the 9th over, and I have to say, all looks lost for the Sixers. Ashton Turner with the running catch. Good, well-judged effort, actually. He was up inside the circle mid-on. It's a run back towards long on and took it 2 hands above his head. 52 for 5. And another one goes for naught. Christian's on his way for naught after Silk went for naught.
Been a few ducks in this innings. James Vince, he also got a duck. That was a short stay, a disappointing stay for the Sixers. Dan Christian, who can do a lot of damage, but in fairness, very early in the innings for Dan Christian to be batting. He's very destructive in that last probably 6 overs, 7 overs. You don't really want Dan Christian coming in the first 7 or 8 overs because he's not accustomed to it at this stage of his career. He's more of a finisher. But the Sixers have got himself in awful trouble there. So much strife on a wicket, on a pitch that didn't really offer much for the seamers when Sixers bowled. It looked pretty good. All of a sudden the Scorchers, they've got a bit more out of it.
Carlos Brathwaite is in at number 7. We have half an hour or 40 minutes of Carlos. It'll be fun. Whether there's enough, there's got too much to do from here. Ty moves in, bowls to Edwards, who lances off his hip down towards deep backward square leg. Richardson's onto it. 1 run, 53 for 5 after 9 overs. What were you saying there now? You think the leg spinner will deal with him?
They'll have to bowl the leg spinner to Brathwaite. It's known around the world he just doesn't play leg spin. Doesn't play it well. You know, even after his exploits years and years ago, as soon as he went to IPL and every tournament that he played in, as soon as he took guard, a leg spinner came on, and they generally got him out. So I think Fawad will be licking his lips. And why wouldn't you when you've got a team chasing around 11 or 12 and over, they're 5.53 and a leg spinner comes on, good chance to pick up a few poles.
Right, here's something now. They need 19 for the Bash boost. They're 5 down. They're miles away from the 180. Do you really go for it now? Do you say, right, we can't win the game, but it's so difficult. Do we just go for the 1 point? Our trip to Perth gives us 1 point.
I think they should.
19,
why not?
Right, it's Edwards on strike. Richardson bowls to him. He knocks his off his hip down towards fine leg. They're off for a single. Only a single. Edwards to 35.
It's probably why the Scorchers have gone with another over a pace as well, because they probably think in the back of their mind, if the Sixers do decide before this over's bowled to have a dip for the Bash boost, if you bowl a leggy, all you got to do is get 2 out of the middle, and it's 12. Very difficult to get Richardson.
Yeah, because by your logic, actually, Fawad Ahmed coming into the attack there would have been the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But they perhaps sense that,
maybe hold them off for an over.
Yeah, if the couple could go over the rope here if you do connect with him.
That's why the Bash boost pour is actually quite interesting. It does just give us a little different element in the middle.
Richardson moves in, bowls to Brathwaite. Brathwaite is edging that down through the gully region. Say edging, it might well have come off his arm as he went down slowly towards third man. He was squared up, certainly. Looking at the signal from the umpire, there is no signal, so it might have come off the glove.
He was so deep in his crease here. He was almost 2 feet in the crease before the ball was bowled, expecting a short one. Yeah, he doesn't fancy that. His leg side, he's nearly trodden on his stumps. Not going to get too many half volleys here, Carlos, I don't think.
It was much easier reading that shipping forecast.
I was just going to say, the shipping forecast really did tickle me as I drive up the motorway during the summer.
Richardson bowls to Edwards. Edwards turns it leg side, back with a square for a single. Only a single, so I think the Bash boost points, you forget about it. They're not having a dart for it. It was a long shot anyway. Edwards to 36. He's had his problems against the short ball, but he's still there. He's battling away. 36 from 32. Consider that his colleagues, Philippi 5, Vince 0, Silk 0, Christian 0, and Hughes 14 have all come and gone. Richardson bowls to Brathwaite, up on his toes, guiding it past the dive at backward point, down towards third man. Go for a single, throws on its way into Philippi, the wicket keeper, right over the bails. Another another single to Brathwaite, takes it to 2. 57 for 5. There's 127 more required, and there are only 10 overs left after this one's finished.
We'll say
12 and a half and over already with 5 wickets left.
If you didn't know who was at the top of the ladder and who was down near the bottom before this game, you wouldn't think it was Sixers on top.
Richardson bowls to Edwards. Edwards clips this into the leg side for 1. He's looking for 2.
Great running, mate. Great running.
No real possibility that time. He's off quickly, just a single. Fielder rushing in, deep square leg.
And Perth have been absolutely fantastic, just very disciplined. Even if you think, the first 10 overs yielded, I think it was 71, maybe 72. We were kind of saying after batting a little bit slowly, but they'd only lost 1 wicket. So even though Jason Roy, he is out of touch, but he's going to fire at some stage, you would imagine. It gives him even more confidence.
Richards bowls to Brathwaite. Brathwaite guides this away. He's caught a backward point, guiding it into the fielder's hands, backing away. Rather timid dismissal. And Brathwaite walks off disconsolately. It was not a great shot, really. It was in at the body. A guide straight to Roy. It's a wicket for Jai Richardson. It's 58 for 6 after 10 overs. And this has been a tame performance from the Sixers. Are you the Renegades in disguise?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mentioned it 2 balls ago. Brathwaite doesn't fancy the short, so both feet in the crease.
We have a quick change here now. A few more thoughts from you, and then Artif is coming in.
Yeah, disappointing. Your overseas import, Carlos Brathwaite, well, he's walking off as slow as some of those ships he was talking about in the summer, and that was a really, really poor dismissal. 2 balls previous, he was 2 feet stuck in the crease and leg side of the ball and just fending it away through to third man. He does the exact same again. You can only find Jason Roy, and it's not what you want as a batsman, as an overseas batsman. If all of a sudden the word goes round that you don't fancy the short stuff, you don't get much else. There's going to be plenty more short bowlers, especially when you're playing good pitches like this. 6 down here, the Sixers, and they're in real trouble. 58 on the board.
Yeah, bang on there, Niall. They are in real trouble here. 126 runs to get off 60 balls. That's 12.6 and over. That's not really the issue, really. It's 6 wickets have fallen, and none of these Sydney Sixers batsmen have managed to impose themselves on conditions. And it's already started with those opening bowlers. They bowled with great discipline and just that relentless line and length, that test match length, as you said earlier, made it very difficult for the Sydney Sixers to get away. Of course, they lost their informed wicketkeeper at the top in Josh Felipe, and really nobody's really been able to impose themselves on the game from a Sydney Sixers perspective.
It's almost when you used to sit watching test matches at the WACA, whether it be England or India or Pakistan, whoever went to the WACA against Australia, it almost looked like the conditions were so foreign that they just got whitewashed in 3 days. Well, this is exactly here. It's just been good pace and bounce. They're banging the pitch hard, and the Sixers either don't look comfortable against it, or they're not willing to find a way to try and deal with the short pitch or the bouncing ball. You don't have to smash it out of the ground, but you've got to find a way of dealing with it.
Yes, indeed. We saw Jason Behrendorff earlier dismiss Josh Felipe. Excellent catch by Mitchell Marsh there as well. And then Jai Richardson taking the outside edge of James Vince-Wood-Nord on his way through taking this. And then Andrew Tye, rather soft dismissal of Hughes. Jason Roy taking a catch at backward point. And then, of course, so Jordan Sill swashbucklingly skying 1 to third man. And a wicket for Mitchell Marsh. He's had a cracking game today. Dan Christian just skying 1 up to mid-wicket. That was a very soft dismissal as well. And then Carlos Brathwaite just palmed 1 off his body, just pushed it to the gully fielder. A sequence of soft dismissals that you have to say. Under pressure, of course, the Sydney Sixers chasing that total, but you expect so much more batsmen of that class. Fawad Ahmed now back into the attack. Starts with a flighted full delivery. It's been driven up to long off for a single. Score moves on to 59 for 6 now after 10.1 overs, and really it's hard to see a path back into this game for the Sixers.
Very difficult, and an ideal time really to bring your leg spinner back into the attack. Run rate climbing, nearly 13 and over now.
In comes Fawad. He's got a slip in place as well now, as this time the ball's been defended to extra cover for no run. Not only have they pushed the leg spinner in, they've got that slip in. They're feeling very attacking here. They think maybe they can do some damage to that net run rate at the moment. Adam Mojes will be a very happy man for the Perth Scorchers as Fawad Ahmed comes in once again full, this time bunted down the ground. There's no protection at long on, and that is a welcome boundary for the Sydney Sixers. 4 runs to them. Score moves on to 63 for 6 after 10.3.
Yeah, a bit of respite for the Sixers. Fawad just getting a little bit too full, floating in too full.
Fawad in on just back of a length this time, pushed to extra cover for no run.
Stephen O'Keefe is the new batsman. Left arm tweaker, had a decent day with the ball, picked up 2 for 33.
Down, Fuzzy.
Then once again, this time once more, the ball defended just wide of his diving grasp to the long off region for a single. 64 for 6 now of 10.5 overs. 120 required of 55 balls. Well, if it does happen, Niall, we're going to see something special.
Well, there'll be one man here who'll be very surprised. Simon Mann. Jack Edwards is going to have to get about 100 here.
Short this time from Fawad and wide, and it's been cut away to the man sweeping for a single. And of course, Edwards is on to 39 now, 35 deliveries. He definitely has the skill to do this. Simon O'Keefe, lots of experience there as well. 65 for 6 off 11 overs. I mean, it would be spectacular were it to happen, but we have seen things like this happen, so don't go away just yet. The Sixers are on top of the Big Bash League for a reason. Plenty of skill, plenty of talent, and they can make this result happen.
Yeah, it hasn't been a great day for overseas players, really. If you look at both sides, Jason Roy laboured to 27, Livingston 16. Munro played nicely, truth be told. Jake Ball had a difficult day with the ball, got a bit of tap at the back end, and then James Vince, duck. Brathwaite, horrible dismissal, really soft, out for 2. So it's been a disappointing day for the overseas.
Short delivery's been smashed, top edge, it's raced over the wicket-keeper. Well, a little bit of luck there for the Sydney Sixers off the bowling of Mitchell Marsh. That's about the first thing that hasn't gone Mitchell Marsh's way today. A top edge for 4, 69 for 6 the score after 11.1 overs. Could very easily, just as easily have been 65 for 7. But just out of the grasp of the wicketkeeper there, that top edge from Edwards. Maybe it's his day. 43 off 36. He's climbing, he's accelerating. In comes Mitchell Marsh now once again, this time back of a length, and the ball's just been squeezed to the wideish set mid-on fielder. They run through for a quick single and make it comfortably. 70 for 6 after 11.2.
Yeah, it was a decent short ball that got the top edge. Mitch Marsh to Jack Edwards. Again, though, Jack Edwards, every time there's been a ball banged in at decent pace, he's looked very uncomfortable. He's a very tall batsman, so it's not as if he's maybe short in stature and he's struggling to get used to the pace and bounce. He's tall. He should be able to deal with a lot better.
Mitchell Marsh now just sort of ambling in, not putting too much in his run-up. It's full half volley. He's been driven as far as extra cover, so no run conceded. It's interesting. He just sort of ambles in and bowls at just shy of 130 kilometers per hour. He gets good pace in from that very pedestrian run-up. 70 for 6 after 11.3.
Yeah, he's a big, strong man, Mitch Marsh. Been around a long time. Played a lot of cricket, but he's been inundated with injuries. Missed the IPL after just 1 game.
Here comes Mitchell Marsh once again, this time again pushing the batsman back in his crease, who pushes the ball in turn to extra cover, and no run is scored. Good over this from Marsh after conceding that boundary first ball. It's been it's a single and then 2 dots in a row. 70 for 6 off 11.4. Piling on the pressure for the Sydney Sixers here. 114 required of 50 balls. It's a required run rate of 13.68. Woof. Mitchell Marsh now in once again. The ball takes the top edge. It goes through to the keeper. He's got his man in the end. Mitchell Marsh. In fact, they were celebrating as if he's gone. The batsman's sort of walking, but he might just be walking to square leg. The umpire hasn't given it. This is absolute confusion all over the place. It looked for all the world like it was given. The bowler and the keeper were celebrating like it was a foregone conclusion. And upon replay, it seems the ball's just flicked the top of the shirt, the sort of shoulder area of the shirt. So good decision by the umpire. And the batsman, who just sort of started walking, but he was only walking to square leg, will hold his ground. Full this time for Mitchell Marsh, driven down the ground in the gap. Will it go for 4? Yes, it will. Inexplicably. What a sequence of events that was. We saw he had got out, but in the end, O'Keefe's got himself a boundary off the following delivery. 74 for 6 off 12 overs. Who could make any sense of it? Niall O'Brien, what is going on?
Well, Stephen O'Keefe is going all right. He's come out and he's picked up a boundary nice and easy down the ground, advancing to Mitch Marsh, but a lot of work to be done. 13.75. Yeah, you feel Jack Edwards has got to make a play fairly soon and just try and get a bit of momentum into this innings and give himself some kind of chance, but it's going to be very difficult. Again, though, highlighting how the Sydney batsmen have really struggled against short pitch bowling. Even some of the Mitchell Marsh, who's medium fast, he's not out and out quick, but he's brisk. Even when he's banged it in, the batsmen have struggled.
Yeah, 130 kilometres an hour he keeps pushing. Mitchell Marsh had an excellent outing with the bat earlier as well. At the back of his mind, he'll be thinking about maybe that man of the match award. It is pretty much for the taking at this point. Another wicket would secure it, you'd think. Well, maybe Edwards had something to say about that. 44 of 37 deliveries. Ahmed in and smashed hard as far as extra cover, and the catch has been taken. Well, Edwards has been dismissed. He was the last hope, really, for the Sydney Sixers, and he's been dismissed for 44 of 38 deliveries. An excellent catch, extra cover. Fawad Ahmed with the breakthrough in his third over. He's got figures of 1 for 12 of 2.1, and the Sydney Sixers slipped further into disarray. 74 for 7 of 12.1 overs, with a further 110 required of 47 to get back in this game. It really seems like these are going to be the last rights now.
Yeah, good catch again by Jason Roy. It's his third catch of the day. He may have struggled with the bat, but he's been good in the field. It was a decent innings by Jack Edwards. It was the kind of innings that you need someone at the other end who's going at 160 to 180 strike rate. 44 to strike rate at 115 is never going to win you a game when you're chasing 184 to win. But again, everything's going the way of the Scorchers. Often the case when you do the simple things well and you're disciplined and you do the 1%ers, as the coach will say, you do the simple things well and you tend to get a little bit of luck. Edwards smacks one out of the middle but straight to cover. Roy takes a good tumbling catch, and it's, as you mentioned, another wicket.
Yeah, it's just one of those days where things just don't go for you. You really got a hold of that Edwards as well. It's an outstanding catch. That short extra cover by Jason Roy. It had to come straight at him. It was hit so hard. It was one of those either side of him. It probably would have raced away for 4, but straight to him. Ultimately, at this level, a very straightforward catch. Fawad Ahmed rewarded with some excellent economical bowling. 1 for 12 from him off 2.1. In he comes down to Jackson Bird, the new batsman. The ball's been played uppishly through the covers, and they'll take a single out to the man sweeping. Jackson Bird off the mark. 75 for 7 of 12.2 overs. This innings is sort of meandering to a climax. Rather unlikely target of 14 and a half and over, as the next ball is the slider from Fawad Ahmed. It's been played with the leg side. There's a direct hit at the bowler's end, and they'll run through for an overthrow, which feels largely inconsequential at the moment, but they'll take it, the Sydney Sixers. Still a good chance for these lower order batsmen to improve those averages, maybe get some crucial time in the middle. This game, a loss here wouldn't hurt the Sixers too much, truth be told, but some time in the middle could help them prevent a more crucial loss later in the tournament, as in comes Fawad Ahmed. Lots of air given, and this time the ball has been worked down to long off for a single. Score was on 77 for 7 of 12.4 overs, I beg your pardon. Happy to play a containing role there for Fawad Ahmed. 1 for 16 off his 2.4. Captain will be thrilled just to keep getting through more of these leg spin overs. Protect those fast bowlers. They've still got a lot of work to do. As in comes Fawad Ahmed this time. It's the googly. Well read by Jackson Bird from his crease, but not able to push it anywhere other than off the strip. Dot ball. Did read that rather casually, actually, for a googly. It's a pretty good googly.
Picked it well.
Bird now on strike as Fawad Ahmed again giving the ball plenty of air. Another googly. This time plays the ball into the gap as Jackson Bird takes a single. That is the end of the 13th over of the Sydney Sixers innings. 79 for 7. For the academics at home who want to keep in touch with all of the statistics. 105 runs are required of 42 balls to win this game, which is exactly 15 runs per over. So that's all they got to do. Very simple. The maths is easy. Can they make it happen?
That's got to be nigh on impossible, you would think. But as you say, stranger things have happened before. They may happen again, but Scorchers have totally outplayed the Sixers so far. Wonderful performance so far, must be said. You know, Sixers, they won the bat flip. They did it. They got exactly what they wanted. They wanted to field first and have a chase. Hasn't quite worked out for the Sixers away from home. This could be the win that Scorchers really desperately need and set themselves up for the rest of the campaign.
It's Hardy now back into the attack, and his first ball just squares up the batsman a little bit, pushes the ball wide of the fielder at point. They run through for a quick single. The ball moves on to 80 for 7. It's absolutely, as Simon Matt was saying earlier, the top 5 teams remain in contention. Obviously, at 4th or 5th, you've still got a lot of games to win to get anywhere near that Big Bash trophy, but you're still in contention in the top 5. Now, the Melbourne Renegades can all be ruled out at this point at 8th position, but the teams in at 5, 6 and 7, they're all very much in play, and this result will help build that pressure at the bottom. As the next ball to O'Keefe has been played into the onside, there's a misfield at mid-wicket, and the batsman will come back for 2. It's not very typical of the performance from the Scorchers today. They've been very much, pretty much flawless in their approach today, has to be said, particularly in the field. A rare blemish. O'Keefe's on to 14 from 11 deliveries now. 82 for 7, the score for the Sixers. As Hardy in now once again, as the ball's been played uppishly into the leg side by O'Keefe. He'll take another single. Single's not going to do much damage at this point for the Sixers. 101 required of 39 balls. That's the Sixers on to 83 for 7. Well, Hardy just taking his time setting his field, setting himself at the top of his run. In he comes, he bowls, and it's a pull shot. It's gone up in the air. Will it be taken? Will Jackson Bird be dismissed? No, he won't. Well, it seemed like the ball was up in the air for a very long time, and in the end falls on the bounce to the fielder running in to that short mid-wicket region. And Jackson Bird survives. He takes a single. Hardy really should have had his first wicket there. Slightly lethargic fielding there. Maybe sort of counting the chickens a little bit. Perth Scorchers got to finish strong here. Really underline this innings as the next ball's on the hips of O'Keefe, who works it away to find leg for a single. And the score moves on to 85 for 7 off 13.5 overs. You sense a little bit of a lull here from the Scorchers.
Yeah, and it's surprising really. Mitch Marsh taken out of the attack. He's bowled well so far, and they're kind of dazed having. I thought he might add another over, but get the youngster Hardy into the game to try and maybe pick up a wicket or 2.
Hardy in once again. This time the ball's been tucked into the leg side, and they take the first one quickly. They want the second. They're going to come back, and they're going to make it very comfortably. There's some entrepreneurial running between the wickets by this pair, really trying to pinch these runs. 97 required of 36. Again, it's very, very, very unlikely, but not impossible. O'Keefe and Bird will want to keep those hopes alive as long as they can. 87 for 7 after 14 overs. As the Perth Scorchers look like they're closing in on a win here, but just taking their time over that last hurdle. And just a reminder, you're listening to us here on 5 Live Sports Extra, and we'll be back tomorrow as well with coverage of the Big Bash as the Brisbane Heat take on the Melbourne Stars. And that game is going to start at 10:20 a.m. UK time. So many different start times in this Big Bash League. Loads of different time zones in Australia, loads of audience visits being catered to. And well, here we go. It's power surge time. Sometimes it's largely inconsequential, but I suppose they may as well have a go now.
I'm sure the Sixers management, when they envisage at the start of the tournament, right, we're going to have the power surge, Stephen O'Keefe and Jackson Bird aren't 2 names that would have sprung to mind to try and get you 16.17 per over. Well, you never know. Here we go.
It's Ty who's in. He bowls. It's a Yorker. He's bowled him. He's gone through O'Keefe completely. Andrew Ty has the wicket, and that that slump into, well, the defeat becomes even more pronounced for the Sydney Sixers. It was a rather emphatic dismissal, full and fast Yorker from Ty. You won't see many better executed than that. The 8th wicket falls for the Sydney Sixers. It is O'Keefe who goes after a little cameo of 16 for 14 deliveries. And Sydney Sixers 2 wickets away from a loss here at the hands of the home team, the Perth Scorchers.
Well, that was a beautiful Yorker. Absolutely top class AJ Ty. We're used to seeing him bowl a lot of slower balls and knuckle balls and balls out the side, but that's just a good old-fashioned fast Yorker. Too good for Stephen O'Keefe. Too much work for the tail ender to do. But that was an absolutely brilliant Yorker, and you sense here the Scorchers want to get this one wrapped up now. Get this win, get the points on the board. Let's get in the sheds and have a regroup and focus on the next game, because the games will come thick and fast for a lot of teams. And if you get on a bit of a winning streak, all of a sudden 1 week you're second last, next thing you're up near the top. Can turn quickly for both sides.
Absolutely, there's no time to relax in the Big Bash. A lot of games to be played still. As Ty comes in, another fast Yorker, which has been dug out by the batsman, and big gasps in the Perth stadium as well. The audience firmly entrenched in this. They sense Ty here could get himself a 5-er if he hits 2 more balls in the right places. 3 for 11 for him so far from his 2.2 overs. Jake Ball just about keeping that previous delivery out. He'll be more used to bowling them than playing them, I suppose. As Ty comes in once again, this time back of a length, angling into the batsman, who just pushes the ball defensively to backward point for no run. 87 for 8 the score remains.
Well, I think AJ Ty can probably have a word with the captain and say, I might have a slip-in, Skip, if you don't mind. I fancy myself here. We've got no third man. Third man is in the ring. I always find that bizarre when you have a tail ender comes to the crease and your third man is in the ring. Where do most of tail enders runs come from? Hoik on leg side or else outside edge. Get a slip in, AJ.
Give him a leg slip as well at this point. In comes Ty. He bowls. It's a full toss. It's a thick outside edge off the bat, and it's raced away past the keeper. Kind of wrong-footed the keeper. It's gone for 4. It's not the most elegant runs Jake Ball will have ever scored, but he'll take them all the same. 4 runs, 91 for 8. Sixers maybe looking at that mini milestone of 100.
I reckon he's played that well. I reckon he's played actually pretty well, because as a batsman, being kind to Jake here by saying as a batsman, but when you see a full toss coming down, sometimes your instinct can be maybe to take your eye off the ball, because you might feel it's going to be kind of a beamer coming at your chest. Actually, he keeps an eye on the ball well and just nudges it past the keeper for 4. No slip in. It wouldn't have carried the slip even if there was a slip, but it probably would have prevented the boundary.
Well, Jake Ball on strike. He's got 4 from 3. AJ Ty, in he comes and he bowls. It's short, threatening to Ball. He misses the ball. He attempted to pull there. He was trying to hoik that into the Justin Langer stand. In the end, he misses it altogether. It goes through to the keeper for no run. So Ty making that push for the wicket. He's not afraid to let the batsman smell the leather at this point.
Well, Jake Ball, if anyone remembers the Ashes tour that he played at the Gabba, he got plenty of that short stuff. He got absolutely peppered by short bowling.
In comes Ty now to Jake Ball. It's a full delivery. It's an attempted Yorker that just sort of turned into a low full toss. It's been worked into the leg side for no run. That's the end of the 15th over. 91 for 8 the Sydney Sixers. They require a further 93 runs of 30 balls with 2 wickets in hand. It's unlikely, but if it happens, it's going to be something special to take you through to the climax. After a few thoughts from Niall O'Brien, you'll hear the soothing sounds of Simon Mann.
Well, the end is nigh, as they say. Sixers have been very disappointing, it must be said, but I'll take nothing away from the Scorchers. I think they've been absolutely sensational tonight. Adam Voges' men came into the game under real pressure, knowing that really they did need these 2 points. They were desperate for these points and the Bash boost points, so try and get a maximum points out of this fixture, and they've done it well. They batted well. They set up a platform with the bat, and they launched the back end with Mitchell Marsh scoring 57. And with the ball, they've been relentless, really. They've all bowled in around that 135 to 140 k's per hour, and they've bashed away at a good length, and the Sixers have had no answers.
The end is Niall O'Brien. 91 for 4. Here is Richardson going into bowl to Bird. Bird's up on his toes, playing into the offside, picked up in the covers and there is no run. Atif mentioned the commentary tomorrow, Brisbane Heat against Melbourne Stars, starting at 10:20 on the Gold Coast, so we'll be on air at 10:15. But before that, of course, don't forget Australia against India, first day of the third test. The match starts at 11:30 tonight, ball by ball commentary throughout the night. Here is Richardson going into bowl to Bird. Bird plays that into the onside towards mid-on, and there is one more run to the total. But at the moment, the Sixers, all they're trying to do is really just marginally improve their net run rate. I can't see anything else they're trying to do from this situation, just going as many as they can, so the hit to their net run rate is not as big as it might have been. They've no chance. They're halfway to their target. They've lost 8 wickets and they've got 4.4 overs left. Apart from that, it's been a good night for them.
They've played poorly, actually.
Absolutely thrashed. Ball on 4, Bird on 7. Richardson's taken 2 wickets in his last over, and he goes through ball. He's bowling. Indeterminate poking shot from Jake Ball, and he is on his way. And Richardson has been excellent. He's taken 3 for 15. He's in his 4th over, and he's got a chance to wrap it up now with the number 11 coming to the crease. A man who wasn't even in the original 11 when the match started. Lloyd Pope, who replaced Ben Dawson. That actually was about the one thing that worked for the Sixers tonight. Pope came into the side as the X-Factor player and took 2 for 13 from his 2 overs. 92 for 9. They're having a Renegades night out, the Sixers. Today it's been a woeful performance from them, totally outplayed by this Perth Scorchers side, who I emphasise again, I think this 11 is not a bad side, and they might well force their way into the knockout stages, and then might do some damage along the way. I suppose it sort of depends where they end up playing, really.
Yeah, and also, look around some of the other squads. Some of the squads are going to lose players. Mujib is going to leave Brisbane Heat very soon. Rashid Khan is going to leave Adelaide Strikers
because of international.
Yeah, they're playing against Ireland in Abu Dhabi, the back end of the month. You take Rashid Khan out of Adelaide, that's 35% of their team pretty much gone.
Yeah, it's a big blow for them, isn't it?
So the Scorchers have taken a lot of confidence, and I'm with you, Simon. I think this is a good Scorchers. Their first 11's a really good 11.
Richardson goes in at 92 for 9 and bowls to Pope. He nearly gets through as well. Scraping defensive shot from Pope, just managed to get the toe end on that to a Yorker, but it's a hopeless situation. It's just the 21.23 runs per over required from here with 1 wicket in hand. I suppose that's the beauty of T20 in a way, that if you get a situation like this, it doesn't last long. It will be over fairly quickly. The agony doesn't persist for the Sixers. It gets done and dusted. Here's Pope on strike, gets a short ball, he nearly gets hit there by Richardson. Didn't know too much about that. I'm not sure he fancied it that much. Just about evaded that short ball.
Well, you can excuse Pope for maybe not fancying the short ball. It's some of the top order, actually, and some of the mainstays which have been disappointing. You think of Edwards at top of the order, you should be able to play the short ball pretty well if you're going to open the batting. Well, he didn't look like he played the short ball at all. Brathwaite, as the overseas experienced pro, didn't fancy the short ball. So I think there's more questions than answers here for the Sydney Sixers this evening.
Here goes Richardson into bowl to Pope. Around the wicket. I mean, that flies through. How on earth did that miss leg stump? He went to the leg side, Pope, and he shrugs there and say, well, I was lucky. He didn't bowl me. Actually, you just sensed there from Lloyd Pope, he wouldn't have minded being bowled. Get it finished off. It's the testing delivery from Richardson just past the leg stump, and he's going leg side, so between the body and the leg stump. Richardson's finished 4 overs, 3 for 15, 92 for 9 with 4 overs left of the Sixers innings. Jackson Bird is the other man. He's there on 7. It's going to be a huge victory for the Scorchers.
If you look at the Scorchers bowling lineup, I reckon most coaches in the Big Bash will be very happy with that bowling lineup. You've got Berendorf, who bowls left arm, shapes, good pace. Richardson, right arm, quick and skillful. Got a good leggy in Fawad Ahmed. AJ Ty's a bag of tricks. And then you got Mitchell Marsh as a good, solid all-rounder. It's a very good, well-equipped bowling attack.
Ty with 3 wickets to his name moves in and bowls to Bird, who slaps that through the offside before. Stand and deliver on the up. Beautiful stroke, Jackson Bird. He's on to 11. Just a reminder, the Scorchers started in 7th place. They were 3 points behind the Heat and 6 points behind Melbourne Stars, who are in 5th place. This is their game in hand on the Stars, really, but they're going to get 4 points in this. They're going to be 2 points behind the Stars. They're going to go ahead of the Brisbane Heat. And then their eyes on the Stars, the Strikers, etc. Here is Ty bowling to Bird, goes past the outside edge and through to the wicketkeeper. So they've got a bit of work to do, but there is time, and they've still got half their matches to play yet after today.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
3
surprised.
wins in a row,
I wouldn't be surprised if they're thereabouts, you know, in that maybe third or fourth position come the end of the tournament, because I think that if they can get Roy firing as well.
99 for 6, for 9 I should say. Ty moves in, bowls to Bird, it's full, it's turned away into the onside towards deep back of square leg. They were looking for 2, but I'm afraid Lloyd Boatby got a face. Bird couldn't get back for the second. Bird is on to 12. So Ty and Richardson both taking 3 wickets. Vince, Silk and Christian all out for naught. Earlier Marsh with 57 not out, rapid 57 not out. Got his side up to 183 for 4. The Sixers, I think once they lost Philippi early on, I just felt he's so important to them, that start he makes. He's capable of making a blockbusting start, and they were up against it. Ty goes in, bowls to Pope, and Pope hits this high in the air into the onside. He should be caught by the bowler. He stands there and takes the catch. Ty gets his 4th wicket. He's finished with 4 for 20, and it's a thumping victory for the Perth Scorchers against the defending champions and BBL leaders. They've won by 86 runs. Another huge victory for them in Perth. They beat the Renegades the other evening. That was a big win as well. They beat them by 96 runs. This one by 86 runs. So the Perth Scorchers made it 3 out of 3, and they're on their way.
Well, that's an absolute thumping, a drubbing. Not what many people would have expected. I think we expected a much closer contest than that. Scorchers by 86. They put up a good score, to be fair. 183 for 4 was a good effort with the ball, with the bat. There was still plenty of work to be done, and when they walked out the field, I still think Adam Voges and the captain would have been saying, right boys, we've got to play like we've got 160 on the board here, because it's a really good pitch and we're up against a really strong batting lineup. Well, it wasn't to be. Their bowlers were absolutely fantastic. They took nearly every chance that went their way. I think the keeper put down 1 catch off AJ Time, but everything else that went in the air was snaffled. And in the end, well, the class of Jai Richardson, brilliant. 3 for 15. Berendorf only bowled a couple, but he looked good. AJ Ty, some good bag of tricks, 4 for 20. That's a massive win. Confidence boosting. Perth Scorchers going great guns. Sydney Sixers will be having a lot of questions on the flight back across the Australian outback. Where did we go wrong? Where did we go from here? Because that is a disappointing night.
It's a long way to come for a drubbing.
It sure is.
And that's exactly what it's been. Quick look to see when the Sixers are next in action. Well, their next match is against Brisbane Heat on Sunday. They go from West Coast to Gold Coast for their next game. But they've got absolutely nothing out of this match. They didn't even threaten the Bash boost point. So 4 points to the Perth Scorchers. Emphatic victory for them. So they started the competition poorly. We did mention that a few players missing, but they have responded. They lost 3 of their first 4 games, and the other game was rained off against the Stars. But since then, they've beaten the Adelaide Strikers by 7 wickets. That was a thrashing as well. The Renegades by 96 runs, and the Sixers by 86 runs. So they are going well now, the Perth Scorchers. And at the moment, it just looks like the Renegades. They feel as if the Renegades can play 20 matches and they still wouldn't qualify.
Yeah, they're pretty much gone, you'd think. But everyone else up for grabs. And for the Scorchers, I think their overseas players are going to be here. Jason Roy is scheduled to play the rest of the comp, which is massive, really, because he is going to fire. He's too good a player not to win him a couple of games along the way, and that's all you need. You need your overseas players to win you a couple of games along the way. They've got guys in form. Mitchell Marsh was looking in great touch. Munro's playing nicely. It's the bowlers, though. For me, bowlers win you competitions, and I reckon the Perth Scorchers, their frontline bowling attack of Richardson, Berendorf, Fawed, AJ Ty, Marsh. That's as good as attack as there is in this competition. So I think the Scorchers have got a lot of reason to be optimistic about going a long way in this comp.
Niall, thank you very much indeed. Niall O'Brien, former Ireland international, alongside me on our coverage of the Big Bash. That's just about it for this match. Big win for the Perth Scorchers. A reminder of the Test match cricket coming up tonight. The match starts at 11:30 between Australia and India. Ball-by-ball commentary on the whole game from the Sydney Cricket Ground, with the series poised at 1-1. Fascinating series it has been so far, with the big swings we've seen in the two matches. Following that very closely over the next 5 days, if it lasts that far. And then tomorrow morning, once that cricket is finished, a bit of a gap, and then we will be focusing on that the later Big Bash match tomorrow. There are two games, but we're focusing on the second game, Brisbane Heat against Melbourne Stars, from 10:15. Do join us for that. Plenty of cricket in the next 24 hours, and it promises to be really interesting as well. Big win for the Perth Scorchers against the Sydney Sixers, the defending champions and league leaders. They've been down in the West. They travel back to the East with their tails between their legs. That's it. Goodbye for now.
The FA Cup third round is here.
A sublime goal!
Including Arsenal Newcastle,
Scores!
Crawley Town Leeds United,
Madison's in behind them. Madison scores!
Marine Tottenham Hotspur.
And it's turned it is! Marine have their big moment!
No replays, guaranteed goals, zero filler.
Here comes the first goal!
The FA Cup third round. Live commentaries across the weekend on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
5 Live Sports Extra brings you another, live and uninterrupted, including Formula One.
He's about to do his first ever Formula One start. All the drivers are now lined up at the front of this Albert Park circuit. The Australian fans are all on their feet.
With full coverage of practice rounds and qualifying.
Max Verstappen then across the line to start his flying lap. The sparks fly from underneath the Red Bull in the pitch darkness of the Singapore night. Here comes Vettel, faster still.
Plus, live action and analysis from across the F1 calendar.
All 5 lights are on and the first Grand Prix of the season is go.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings. More live sport, pure live sport. You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra. More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra. As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including cricket.
Shrubsole in now. Balls for Bolter! 6 wickets for Andy Shrubsole, England's hero. England win the World Cup.
Athletics, swimming, boxing.
Trying to get away from danger. Trying to find some sanctuary somewhere in the ring.
Formula One. Golf, rugby league.
Luke Gale tries this time. Luke Gale!
Rugby union, tennis, football.
Wigan with a cross from the left. Will Grigg! Goal! It's Will Grigg to put Wigan 1-0 up in the FA Cup.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings. More live sport, pure live sport. You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra. More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra. As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including international cricket with Test Match Special.
Listen to this noise. We're right up in the roof. Bowles, that's driven. Lovely shot from Stone. He's timed that really well.
Anderson goes in and bowls, and that is out and caught behind.
T20 and one-day internationals.
Takes a couple of strides and then pumps his arms and legs, approaches us, bowls, he's bowled him! And Zampa has gone!
Plus, the ICC Cricket World Cup and highlights and analysis from the biggest matches across the cricketing calendar.
Shrubsole in now. Balls for Bolter! 6 wickets for Andy Shrubsole, England's hero. England win the World Cup.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings. More live sport, pure live sport. You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra. More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra. As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including Rugby League, with live commentary from the Super League.
Maguire with a kick, and it's Cuthbertson who's on the chase. What about that?
There's an element of anticipation, of excitement. My word, bring it on.
The Challenge Cup, NRL and Super League Super 8.
Tries this time, Luke
There's places that you go in this game, and this is unbelievable.
Plus, international rugby league.
They've got numbers outside. McGilvray with a chance, and McGilvray will score. Brilliant England move.
When they start to put it together, when they start to get in the groove, they're going to score points.
Visit bbc.co.uk/5live for full listings. More live sport, pure live sport. You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra. More live sport, pure live sport. This is 5 Live Sports Extra. As 5 Live brings you one event, 5 Live Sports Extra brings you another. Live and uninterrupted, including cricket.
Shrubsole in now. Balls for Bolger! 6 wickets for Andy Shrubsole, England's hero. England win the World Cup.
Athletics, swimming, boxing.
Trying to get away from danger, trying to find some sanctuary.